Chapter 14:15, Stealing in. Chapter 14:15, Stealing in. It's about to take shape. It's about to take shape. Everyone hurry to the forbidden area. Quick, quick, quick. The entire Yi family was brightly lit. Almost everyone was rushing towards the forbidden area. The long young marrow was formed. The fire essence that erupted in the forbidden grounds was the first sign of this. Even the entire skyscraper city's surface could feel the scorching heat emitted by the cave of the Earth's sun. It continued to emit hot steam. Strangely, according to the Yi family's records, the long young marrow's formation time was usually daytime, formed under the blazing sun. However, this time, for some reason, it was at night. One had to know that the difference in pure yang force at night was even greater than during the day. The absorption of long yang's essence would also be slightly slower. At this time, the bright moon was high in the sky. The sun was the sun and the moon was the clouds. At this time, the long yang marrow took shape. This was a very bad omen. Yi Tianxing frowned. Why did it take shape at night? Patriarch, what do we do now? A lot of Yi family's disciples have already rushed out of the forbidden area. They can't control the scene at all. An elder said. Any disciple of the Yi family would know what a long yang marrow meant. It meant strength. This meant that he could soar into the sky. Even if they could not enter the forbidden grounds, being near the long yang marrow would help their cultivation by a lot. Many disciples and even elders would not be able to cultivate the pure yang force, and with the help of the long yang marrow, their speed of cultivation would increase by several-fold. No one wanted to miss it, Yi Tianxing said, since that's the case. After pondering for a moment, he said, then we should maintain the area well. All disciples are allowed to cultivate outside the forbidden grounds. There's one thing I need to control, and that is that the danger zone cannot allow anyone to enter, especially disciples with another surname, absolutely cannot. Yes, sir. The few elders rushed over at top speed. Go call the young master, Yi Tianxing instructed, then proceeded to the forbidden grounds. Young Master Long, Young Master Long. Yi Jingyun rushed over to Long Fei's residence in a hurry. Long Fei also felt the eruption of the pure yang force. The pure yang force he absorbed seemed to resonate with his body. Yi Jingyun said, Young Master Long, the long yang marrow is about to take shape, let's go take a look. Long Fei slightly said, I am an outsider, the long yang marrow is your Yi family's top secret, isn't that a little inappropriate for me to go? Also, earlier, I heard the order that disciples with different surnames are not allowed to approach the forbidden area. However, Yi Jingyun didn't care that much and said, my father is that kind of stubborn old fogey, so don't take his words to heart. Besides, we were only going to take a look and didn't say that we must get anything at all. I'm very familiar with the forbidden region. I know the other way and I'm sure no one knows. Yi Jingyun said in a low voice. I'll go too. Nangong Yang walked out of the room. However, the clothes that she was wearing during the day were not the sexy and alluring blue dress she wore earlier. Yi Jingyun immediately said, come with me, I also want to know what kind of long yang marrow the Yi family is that even I do not know. Long Fei did not continue. Actually, he desperately needed long yang marrow, needed this power to temper them. Sleeping Beauty had once said, long yang marrow could allow the destroy god mind to absorb more, and also allow it to erupt more, and refine the young god's authentic artifact. The three of them moved stealthily, quickly approaching the back of the forbidden area. At this moment, the outside of the forbidden area was packed with people, and waves of red light were flickering within the forbidden area. Every time the red light flashed out, many disciples would frantically absorb it. Some people's hair even began to mutate and turn into a fiery red color. This caused many of the disciples to be wild with joy. The hair variation was a sign. Signs of cultivating pure yang force. The patriarch is here. A disciple suddenly shouted. Yi Tianxing slightly said, everyone, don't be distracted, just stay here and cultivate. I hope you all can take advantage of this opportunity to cultivate the pure yang force. You will be the pillars supporting the Yi family. Don't worry about being chased away. Use your full potential. The Yi family needed to be strengthened. He needed to win over the hearts of the people. This was a very good opportunity. Those disciples shed tears of gratitude one after another, while the elders who had defended Yi Tiancheng before were also incomparably touched. If anyone dares to oppose the clan leader again in the future, I'll be the first to kill him. He's the only one who truly cares for our disciples. What a great clan leader. Where can we find such a good patriarch? They were all praising him. At this time, one of the disciples hurriedly reporting to the patriarch, "The young master has not been found." Yi Tianxing's face tensed up. "What? Go look for it again. Also, let's go to Long Fei's courtyard and see if he's still in the courtyard." "Yes, sir." Yi Tianxing was a little worried that something might happen. The moment he saw Long Fei, he felt that he was not ordinary. It was the feeling of not giving up until he had achieved his goal. Even Yi Tiancheng was not his opponent. If he wanted the Yi family's Longyang marrow, then who could stop him? The Longyang marrow was the Yi family's foundation that had flourished for 10,000 years. If it was taken away by others, the Yi family would quickly wither and eventually perish. No matter who it is, the Longyang marrow cannot be given to others. Yi Tianxing was very clear on this point. Long Fei could give her anything, but not the Longyang marrow. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. One after another, evil and ghostly shadows shot out. "It's right in front." Yi Tiancheng led the way, followed by a group of powerhouses from the Evil Heaven Pavilion. "Who is it?" Yi Tiancheng landed heavily, and said in a heavy voice, "You dog, you don't even recognize me anymore?" Big elder." One of the guards shivered slightly. Another guard said, "Grand Elder, the clan leader has issued a curfew order. No one is allowed to come out." "You! What's wrong with me?" Yi Tiancheng's eyes turned sinister. The guard said, "You can't enter the city." Before he could finish speaking, 5 bloody holes appeared on the guard's head in an instant. Yi Tiancheng said coldly, "You're courting death." The other guard wanted to escape, but was sent flying by an evil elder with a palm. His body immediately exploded. Tian Xie looked at Yi Tiancheng and said, "Go straight to the Yi family's forbidden grounds. The Longyang marrow's aura is getting stronger and stronger." Yi Tiancheng immediately replied, "Understood." Within the forbidden area, red light burst out in waves. It was extremely hot. Yi Jingyun muttered, "I didn't notice it when I came over to play an hour later, but I didn't expect that there would be such a huge change inside." Within the forbidden area, it turned into something similar to a volcanic crater. Within the crater was boiling hot lava. Wave after wave of powerful forces surged up from the ground, causing the lava to churn non-stop. The Sleeping Beauty suddenly said, "The Longyang marrow is inside the flame essence." Chapter 14:16, Dragon and Young Forming. Chapter 14:16, Dragon and Young Forming in the Fire Liquid. Long Fei's heart trembled. He stared at the ball of boiling fire liquid, his eyes in a daze. This was no ordinary flame essence. This was the flame essence that carried the Longyang marrow. Even if Long Fei used the power of the magmatic fruit, he would not be able to enter the flame essence. It was impossible to take the Longyang marrow out of the fire essence. Can Golden Cudgel do? Immediately. Long Fei did not think too much about it. With a wave of his right hand, he summoned the Golden Cudgel. Buzz. Rumble. With a hum and a loud sound, flames shot up into the sky. Before the Golden Cudgel could come into contact with the fire essence, an incomparably strong wave of pure power sent Long Fei flying. His arm went numb, and the Golden Cudgel almost flew out of his hands. What a powerful strength! Long Fei muttered, "There's a powerful pure power wrapped in this liquid." Nangong Yang said, "It seems to be a flame barrier." Yi Jingyun said, "Young Master Long, even you can't do it." Long Fei shook his head and said, "I have to think of another way. This sort of thing that was born from tens of thousands of years had its own spiritual sense. Simply put, it had its own life and intelligence. It would absolutely not let anyone near it. Just now, he had used a golden cudgel. If Long Fei had gone down there himself, the consequences would have been even worse." "Sister, is there any way?" Long Fei asked as soon as he moved. The Sleeping Beauty said, "I'll think about it. I think. Huff, huff, huff. Thinking about it. In less than 3 seconds, the sleeping beauty was about to fall asleep. Long Fei. Are you kidding me when you fall asleep at this time? I definitely can't let you think about it in the future. It's F** King Fatal. Long Fei secretly complained in his heart. The sleeping beauty had fallen asleep, and he would not be able to think of a solution in a short period of time. However, until now, Yi Tianxing did not allow anyone to enter the forbidden grounds. It was obvious that the Long Yang marrow had not formed, it still needed time to mature. Long Fei calmed down and said, "Let me think first." Bam! Boom! Ha ha ha! Yi Tianxing, get out here. The people of the Evil Heaven Pavilion had arrived. After a slaughter from the Yi family's gate all the way to the forbidden grounds, seeing that the Yi family's disciples were all cultivating here, Yi Tianxing sneered in disdain. What qualifications does this group of trash have to train in the power of Long Yang marrow? Yi Tianxing walked out and said, "Big brother, anyone from the Yi family can train in Long Yang marrow, and so can you." Humph. Yi Tianxing, stop crying in front of me. What are you thinking? I know that the Yi family will fall sooner or later if Dad gives the Yi family to you. Yi Tianxing said in disdain, "Look at what you have been doing all these years. What has the Yi family been made of by you? Yi Tianxing, if you hand over the patriarch's seat now, I can spare your life." Yi Tianxing bellowed. At this time, a few elders stood up and said, "Yi Tianxing, this is the Yi family's forbidden area. Either leave by yourself, or we will chase you away." As they spoke, several elders stood up, and many disciples also stood up. "All right. Good, very good, very good. You trash want to oppose me? Then go to hell." With that said, dozens of demonic phantoms flew out from the darkness behind Yi Tianxing, their shrill ghostly wails resonating in the air, followed by heads flying out one by one. Many disciples were instantly killed. Yi Tianxing's eyes darkened, and he said angrily, "Yi Tianxing, you actually colluded with the evil demon?" Yi Tianxing laughed coldly, "Are you forcing all of this? You hired a hitman to deal with me, can't I collude with the evil demons to deal with you? Ha ha ha. If you can do the first year, can't I do the 15th? Yi Tianxing's brows twitched, and the dense pure yang force burst out, a powerful force rushing out, striking one of the evil demon elders away. At this moment, Yi Tianxing sped up like the wind, and his claws were like a ball of flame as they directly grabbed towards Yi Tianxing. "There seems to be a fight outside. Young Master Long, you guys stay here. I'll go out and take a look." Yi Jingyun was a little worried. Long Fei said, "Do you want me to go with you?" Yi Jingyun said, "No need, you guys stay in the forbidden grounds. No matter what happens outside, do not go out." Outsiders were not allowed to enter the Yi family's forbidden grounds. If Long Fei went out, he would become the Yi family's enemy. "All right, then you be careful," Long Fei reminded her. Yi Jingyun quickly rushed out. Long Fei looked at the fiery liquid that was still boiling inside the crater, and muttered, "Is there no way to get close to it?" He looked at Nangong Yang and asked, "Why aren't you saying anything?" Nangong Yang's eyes became unfocused. She stared straight at the exit of the forbidden grounds, and said, "I seem to have sensed the evil demon's qi." She was from the evil oracle. Long Fei was very clear about this matter. Her reaction to demonic energy was extremely strong. The evil qi that the people from the Evil Heaven Pavilion were releasing, she could instantly feel it. However, this demonic qi was very weak. Nangong Yang said slightly, "Something may have happened to the Yi family." Long Fei frowned, "It can't be the Punish Evil Secret Territories evil god again, right?" Nangong Yang shook his head, "No, but their power is enough to deal with the Yi family." Long Fei said, "Then what are we waiting for? Get out and help." Nangong Yang glanced at Long Fei, and said, "All right." At this moment, rumble. A stream of fire essence erupted. The surging fire essence blossomed like a lotus flower, and at the center of it, there was a fiery red bead. The Long Yang marrow was formed. At this moment, Yi Tianxing's face changed, it's formed. Yi Tianxing immediately said, "Master Tian Xie, the Long Yang marrow has formed." In that instant, Everyone stopped fighting and turned to look at the forbidden area. Coincidentally, Yi Jingyun was standing at the entrance of the forbidden grounds, looking at the large amount of dead and injured Yi family disciples. When Yi Tianxing saw his son, he shouted loudly, "Shocking cloud, run!" Boom. Tian Xieyin laughed coldly, "Run? No one can escape." The evil shadow moved, and landed in front of Yi Jingyun, and before Yi Jingyun could react, he struck out with his palm. Rumble. Yi Jingyun's body flew into the forbidden grounds like a remnant of a thread. Tian Xie also followed and rushed in. After that the experts of the evil heavenly pavilion all rushed in. Yi Tiancheng laughed out loud, and said, "Yi Tianxing, you have guarded this forbidden ground for so many years, what can you do? The Longyang marrow was snatched from your hands, ha ha ha. Let's see how you face the ancestors, ha ha ha." At this moment, Yi Tiancheng also rushed into the forbidden grounds. "Patriarch, what should we do?" "Patriarch, we can't care so much. No matter what, we can't let the Longyang marrow fall into the hands of the evil demon." Yi Tianxing clenched his fists tightly and said, "All of you enter the forbidden ground." Chapter 14:17, Swallowing the Tathagata Divine Pill. Chapter 14:17, Swallowing the Tathagata Divine Pill. The Longyang marrow has formed. Where? It's so beautiful. That's a fire lotus. It's also called a hellfire lotus. Suddenly, the sleeping beauty woke up. Long Fei was surprised for a moment, and said, "Are you thinking of how to get hold of it now?" "That what? If you don't know yet, don't even think about it. Otherwise, you'll fall asleep again later." Long Fei was afraid that the sleeping beauty would fall asleep again. He had always been suspicious in his heart. Just how good was his sleep? The sleeping beauty giggled and said, "You won't be sleeping now. I've already given you the method." "Huh?" Long Fei asked, "What method? How come I didn't know?" The sleeping beauty said, "The Tathagata Divine Pill. Take the Tathagata Divine Pill and you will be able to obtain this Longyang marrow. Remember, you must take out the hellfire lotus as well." The sleeping beauty reminded him. "Tathagata Divine Pill?" Long Fei was shocked. The sleeping beauty's words caused him to be incomparably shocked. Could she have already predicted what would happen today while concocting the Tathagata Divine Pill? The Tathagata Divine Pill was prepared for today? If that was really the case, then she was too sharp. He was unimaginably awesome. Just as Long Fei was about to swallow the Tathagata Divine Pellet, his body fell from the sky. Bam! At this moment, an evil shadow heavily descended and stepped onto Yi Jingyun's chest. Both of his eyes looked up at the nearby Long Fei, and his gaze darkened. "There's someone else in the forbidden grounds." Seeing the hellfire lotus in full bloom and looking at the fiery red bead in the middle, his face revealed an excited expression. "Ha ha ha. The Longyang marrow. His mine now." The evil shadow moved, suddenly flying down, one hand grabbing at the Longyang marrow. Long Fei smirked, "Idiot." Bam! Rumble. A pure power shot out from the evil shadow and struck a rock in the distance, causing him to spurt out a mouthful of blood. Heavy critical strikes. Tian Xie also descended as he stared at Long Fei. At this moment, another demon rushed down. Boom. Similarly, he was directly sent flying by the thick and profound pure power. There was no way to approach at all. Yi Tiancheng also rushed forward. When he saw Long Fei, killing intent surged in his eyes, and he sneered, "Kid, we meet again? This time, you're dead for sure." Tian Xie shouted coldly, "Don't worry about him. What if we get the Longyang marrow?" Yi Tiancheng retracted his gaze, and looked at the bead on the fire lotus in the pit with a slightly startled expression. It was also the first time he had seen a Longyang marrow. Yi Tianxing brought his people and rushed into the forbidden grounds. He shouted loudly, "Yi Tiancheng, they are demons, and if the Longyang marrow were to fall into their hands, you would be the Yi family's sinner." "Humph. I'm a sinner of the Yi family. And what are you? Look, your son has long brought outsiders into the forbidden area. What qualifications do you have to criticize me?" Yi Tiancheng said disdainfully, then said without hesitation, "According to the Yi family's ancient book, as long as you break through a pure yang barrier, you can obtain the Longyang marrow. Yi Tiancheng. Yi Tianxing was as if he had gone mad. This was a top secret of the Yi family. Yi Tiancheng laughed coldly. Yi Tianxing, from the moment I escaped from the skyscraper city, I have never been a member of the Yi family. I must destroy it with my own hands. Ha ha ha. After all these years of living like a dog and being at your beck and call, what did I get? Nothing. What did you give me? Nothing. If you don't let me off, I definitely won't let you off either. Yi Tiancheng seemed to have gone crazy. And then, Tian Xie said, how do I break through the pure yang barrier? Yi Tiancheng recovered from the shock and said, about this, there's no record of it in the ancient books, I don't know. Then what's the use of talking nonsense with me? Tian Xie's eyes turned cold. Yi Tiancheng's body trembled slightly as he pointed at Yi Tianxing and said, I don't know, but he knows. Tian Xie looked at Yi Tianxing and said, I only want the long yang marrow, give it to me, and I will not kill anyone from the Yi family. Yi Tianxing laughed coldly, dream on. Tian Xie's eyes turned sinister. He walked up to the heavily injured Yi Jingyun and sneered, he is your son, right? After which, he stepped forward. Phut! Yi Jingyun spat out another mouthful of black blood, and his face became pale. Father, don't tell him. Yi Tianxing clenched his fists tightly and said, if you have the guts, come at me. Bam! Tian Xie stomped down once again, his ribs breaking, and Yi Jingyun spat out another mouthful of blood, the blood spraying all over his face. Yi Tiancheng, who was at the side, laughed out loud and said, Yi Tianxing, your son is about to die, ha ha ha. Patriarch, the young master. Patriarch. We can't let them get the long yang marrow. Patriarch, save the young master. Yi Tianxing did not know how to make his choice. One was his son, while the other was the Yi family's fate. Moreover, he was very clear that he could not believe Tian Xie's words. Even if he obtained the long yang marrow, the Yi family would still die in their hands. At this moment, Long Fei took a step forward and said, I can obtain the long yang marrow. As soon as he finished, the entire forbidden grounds suddenly became quiet, as everyone looked at Xiong Longfei. Tian Xie and Yi Tianxing were the same. Yi Tiancheng was startled, then laughed loudly, Brat, you? Mph, do you know what a long yang marrow is? Long Fei didn't even look at Yi Tiancheng, and said, but I have a condition. Yi Tianxing said, Brother Long, stop messing around. He was very clear that outsiders would definitely not be able to break through the yang barrier. If Long Fei were to go down, he would only be sent flying by the yang barrier, and his heart would be shattered. Tian Xie asked with interest, tell me about it. Long Fei said, I got the long yang marrow, you kill him. He moved his finger and pointed at Yi Tiancheng. Tian Xie did not even think about it, and directly replied, no problem. Yi Tiancheng's body trembled slightly as he said, Master, you can't kill me. Tian Xie laughed, don't worry, he won't be able to get the long yang marrow. Yi Tiancheng was also startled, that's right, someone like you can get long yang marrow? Long Fei laughed faintly as the idea swallowed the Tathagata divine pellet with a move. The aura on Long Fei's body suddenly changed, as though it was all within his body. Tian Xie's gaze turned cold, has your aura changed? On Long Fei. Only he was able to see the illusory image of Lord Tathagata the Buddha superimposed over his body. His strength was unparalleled. This feeling, powerful to the point of exploding, it was so satisfying that it didn't work. Chapter 14:18, Hand over your things. Chapter 14:18, Hand over your things. It was a bit of a waste for the Tathagata divine pill to be used here, as its duration was very short. Only a minute. However, since the Sleeping Beauty knew what happened today when she was refining the Tathagata divine pill, it definitely would not be a waste. Furthermore, there were still a few land flower s left, so she could still refine the Tathagata divine pill. The moment the pill entered his body, his strength exploded. Long Fei directly jumped into the deep pit. Yi Tiancheng revealed a cold and contemptuous smile, he will be sent flying soon, can a trash like him break through the barrier of the pure power? It was extremely disdainful. How strong was the pure power? Yi Tiancheng had cultivated the pure yang force his whole life but still could not produce it. The pure yang barrier, which was condensed from the essence of the pure power, could not be broken at all. Young Master Long, come back quickly, Yi Jingyun said worriedly. Yi Tianqing also said loudly, Brother Long, come back quickly. You can't endure the backlash from the pure power, come back quickly. Yi Tianqing laughed, just you wait, the shock will turn you into a dead dog soon, ha ha ha. Tian Xie did not laugh, but looked at Long Fei, because he felt the aura from Long Fei's body suddenly change, and become extremely strong. This was a power that he had never felt before. The Sleeping Beauty reminded him, remember, you must pluck that Hellfire Lotus as well. This was the second time the Sleeping Beauty reminded him. Standing in front of the Hellfire Lotus, the pure yang barrier burst forth with energy, blocking Long Fei's chi, forming a powerful sound of impact. Buzz, buzz. Waves of power struck Long Fei's body. Long Fei closed his eyes and extended his right hand downwards. Boom. As the aura exploded, a huge Buddhist hand came crashing down. This huge Buddhist hand seemed to be able to refine the same kind of Tathagata divine pill as the Tathagata divine pill. Catcher, catcher. The pure yang barrier made a gurgling sound. He was also crazily reflecting on his own strength. Rumble, rumble. Yi Tiancheng said in disdain, just watch, we will be sent flying right away. Tian Xie's eyes turned cold, and said, you seem to like him being sent flying, you really don't want me to get the long yang marrow, right? Yi Tiancheng's gaze tightened, and he immediately lowered his head, saying, I don't dare. Humph. Tian Xie snorted and said, if he can't get the long yang marrow, then go get it. Yi Tiancheng's body trembled slightly, and he did not dare speak anymore. At this time, everyone had gathered around the hole and were watching Long Fei. Father, help young Master Long, Yi Jingyun said loudly. He could care less about his own life, but he had to protect Long Fei's. He brought Long Fei to the skyscraper city, he had to be responsible for it. Yi Tianxing replied, too late, too late. I do not know how to break the pure yang barrier, only one person in the Yi family obtained a long yang marrow, the rest are all long yang marrow guardians. I don't know how to break it either. Then he's dead for sure. Sigh. When the Yi family elders saw Long Fei in the pit, many of them sighed. The power of the pure yang barrier was too strong, and even Yi Tianxing was unable to undo it. However, at this moment, veins popped up on Long Fei's forehead, and with a heavy shout, he said, break for me. The power of Buddha exploded forth. A powerful force came crushing down. The pure pressure, the overwhelming force, had directly shattered the pure yang barrier. Rumble. A ray of pure power burst out, forming a dense heat wave that shot out. The surrounding crowd suddenly shook, they looked at Long Fei with their mouths agape. It broke. The pure yang barrier has been broken. This is too strong, isn't it? Just who is this person? If the disciples that are eliminated by the Tower Question of God are already this strong, then to what extent are the official disciples of the Tower Question of God strong? Yi Tianxing was extremely shocked in his heart. Unbelievable, I actually used my strength to crush the pure yang barrier. Yi Tiancheng's expression, on the other hand, became extremely ugly. Tian Xie became excited, and said, quick, quick, give the long yang marrow to me. Breaking through the pure yang barrier was just a barrier. The most important thing was how to harvest the Hellfire Lotus. Huff. Long Fei let out a deep breath. With a move of his right hand, he extended it into the thick lava, and with a burst of power, he exploded it. What is he doing? Brat, I want you to bring the long yang marrow over, do you hear me? What are you doing? It's impossible for him to withstand Diang Liang's hand. Everyone was shocked when they saw Long Fei reach his hand into the flame essence. At this moment, boom, boom, boom. Long Fei felt a power that seemed to be able to burn everything, as if he had entered a world of flames. This kind of power made him tremble, as if it was the power of a god. The Sleeping Beauty reminded, protect your mind. Don't get distracted. Pick the Hellfire Lotus, quick. The Sleeping Beauty also became somewhat nervous. Because she could feel that Long Fei was continuously sensing the powerful flame energy, he was slightly intoxicated. Once he entered the secret room, it would be extremely dangerous. Master. The sleeping beauty shouted. Long Fei's heart violently shook. At this very moment, his right hand suddenly lifted up, directly lifting the hellfire lotus out of the flame essence. Fire droplets were flowing like water through the gaps of Long Fei's fingers. Beneath the flame liquid, Long Fei took a quick glance and felt an incomparably powerful energy rush towards him. It was the flame god power that he had felt just now. Boom! The power of Buddha on Long Fei's body shook violently, and smashed down heavily. Long Fei's body, which was in the dry land, picked up scallions and flew up. Huff! His back was drenched in cold sweat. Even though he had taken the Tathagata divine pellet, Long Fei was still unable to hold on for much longer. Fortunately, he had managed to jump out of the deep pit. The fire essence in the deep pit slowly disappeared, and the fire god's divine power also slowly disappeared from Long Fei's sea of consciousness. The 10,000-year-old Longyang marrow had ended. It would take another 10,000 years to reappear. Everyone present looked at Long Fei. Long Fei held the hellfire lotus in one hand, and the Longyang marrow pearl in the center of the fire lotus glowed with a red light, looking extremely beautiful. Tian Xie's eyes flashed with excitement, and he said, "Give it to me, quickly." Long Fei smiled slightly, "Release my brother." In addition, Long Fei looked at Yi Tiancheng, who was slowly retreating, and said, "Kill him for me." Tian Xie's gaze turned cold, and immediately grabbed Yi Jingyun, who was on the ground, and said, "Don't negotiate with me, understand?" Long Fei grinned and said, "Really? Then don't even think about getting Longyang marrow S in your lifetime. Give it to me, otherwise, I'll kill him." Tian Xie lost his patience. He was on the verge of going berserk. "I'll give it to you." Long Fei's eyes turned sinister as he plucked the beads from the hellfire lotus. Anything was better than not being his brother's life. What did Longyang marrow count for? Chapter 14:19, Pure Lotus Demon Fire, Attack. Chapter 14:19, Pure Lotus Demon Fire, Attack. This brother was extremely important to Long Fei. He could feel the killing intent in Tian Xie's eyes. At this moment, he had no other choice. He took the Longyang marrow bead and threw it to Tian Xie. Nangongyang said, "Long Fei, you used your life to exchange for that. How can you give it to him? A mere evil demon, I." Nangongyang's eyes turned cold, and an evil aura burst out from them, becoming extremely dense. Long Fei slightly said, "But I'm worried, I'll save them first." "Ah, ha, ha. I already said that I can obtain the Longyang marrow, right? Lord Yang Huang? If that's the case, then I have the qualifications to enter the Boundless sect, ha ha ha." Tian Xie was extremely excited. The Longyang marrow was his assessment. As long as he could obtain the Longyang marrow, then he could enter the mysterious Empyrean divine sect. The Sky sect. This was a newly established sect. It was incomparably powerful, and could even contend against Tower Question of Goddess. The moment he got hold of the Longyang marrow, Tian Xie went crazy with excitement. He looked at the Longyang marrow in his hands and felt a bit of it. What a strong power. As expected of a soul treasure born after 10,000 years. Just as the Longyang marrow was plucked, a change happened to the hellfire lotus in Long Fei's hand. It suddenly disappeared and entered Long Fei's hand. Suddenly, Long Fei simply could not react in time. From his palm to his heart meridian, a scorching, unbearable power burst forth, as if his blood vessels were on fire. It was very uncomfortable. Hiss, 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 hiss. Long Fei gasped in pain. Nangongyang, who was at the side, immediately supported Long Fei and asked, "What's wrong?" Long Fei shook his head, and said, "No, nothing. The fire lotus in his hand is gone." What just happened? If the Longyang marrow is removed, the fire lotus will definitely wither and disappear quickly. Now, the Longyang marrow is in the hands of the evil demon. "Kid, you are the sinner of the Yi family. He must be in cahoots with the demons." Many people from the Yi family started to criticize him. Nangongyang bellowed, "Are you all blind?" At this moment, Long Fei suddenly sat cross-legged, the blazing flame on his heart meridian crazily spread. In the end his entire body seemed to be ignited. He felt that hellfire lotus blooming once again, petal by petal, and furthermore. More importantly, he felt like he was sitting on a lotus seat. Grand Scholar Guan Yin's lotus seat. The Sleeping Beauty giggled and said, "Master, that long young marrow is nothing. This hellfire lotus is at least 10,000 times better than it. Moreover, with this fire lotus, the process of refining a sun god authentic artifact would be even easier." He he. Long Fei was also startled. He was completely dumbstruck. "You want me to lift up the entire lotus for you want it? And not a long young marrow?" The Sleeping Beauty laughed. The long young marrow does indeed have dense young energy, but the one who gave birth to it is this hellfire lotus. It is the one with the most vigorous young energy in the chaos realm, and the reason why you can feel that powerful flame divine power is because of it. Now that you have fused with the hellfire lotus, your body is constantly tempering itself. Heh. It will be useless to refine a sun god authentic artifact, but your body will be fine now and you don't have to worry about that at all. If you're lucky, it can help you refine the sun god's body. Long Fei was extremely shocked in his heart. Wow, young god's physique. Isn't this too fierce? His body was constantly changing, and the aura inside Long Fei's body was also constantly changing. Since the Sleeping Beauty had said that the hellfire lotus was helping him refine his body, Long Fei did not stop it, and allowed it to freely roam within his body. A few minutes later, Long Fei's body slowly recovered as all the pure power entered his mind and consciousness. Refining the body was not something that could be done in a few minutes. It would take a very long time, and it would take time to build up bit by bit. Although Long Fei had merged with a hellfire lotus and his body had undergone some changes, he had not yet refined the young god's body. At this moment, the system suddenly sounded out. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward for fusing with the hellfire lotus. The reward is pure lotus demon fire. Do you wish to cultivate it? What? Couldn't hear it clearly for a moment, so he opened up the system to have a look. In his mind, there floated a ball of pure white flame like a white lotus, quietly burning as he looked at its name. Long Fei's heart seemed to have stopped beating. Fuck. The heck? Pure lotus demon fire, Xiao Yang's heavenly flame? Damn. System, you are going crazy. This is about to go up to the sky. Ha ha ha. Long Fei could not help but become excited. He had never thought of obtaining such a heaven-defying thing, and immediately shouted in his heart, cultivate now. Ha ha ha. In Long Fei's previous life, besides gaming, novels were another hobby. He had seen the battle that had broken through the heavens. The heavenly flame was naturally incomparably clear that when he saw the pure lotus demon fire, his entire body had been ignited. Awesome. It was also at this time. Tian Xie kept the long young marrow. One of the elders asked, Pavilion Master, what should we do with these people? Tian Xie gave a cold smile and said, kill. Long Fei suddenly stood up and said, you said that you would let the Yi family go once we obtain the long young marrow. Tian Xie sneered, did I say that? Why can't I remember it myself? Then, he smiled playfully and said, could it be that you heard wrong? And, brat, you have to find out, I am Tian Xie, and you took what the evil demon said seriously. Are you stupid? Ha ha ha. All the surrounding evil spirits burst into laughter. Yi Tiancheng also laughed out loud, and said, the Yi family, all of you can die now. Tian Xie did not attack him, nor did he leave in a hurry. He wanted to see Long Fei die. Watching the Yi family perish. This is bullying. You took the long young marrow, and now you still want to exterminate my Yi family? No one bullies others like that. The Yi family disciples were all furious. It's all his fault. If he did not give the long young marrow to the evil demon, would we become like this? Yi Jingyun, this is a friend that you brought over. The Yi family was destroyed by him, a trash like you shouldn't have allowed you to go to the tower question of God. Shame on the Yi family. Many people were criticizing Long Fei. Yi Jingyun said heavily, you can just say that I'm okay, but you can't say that I'm friends. If it wasn't for him, all of you would have died long ago. Long Fei did not care about what the people around him were saying, but he had a faint smile on his face, and looked at Tian Xie with interest, I gave you a chance to live. No. Heh. In that case. Long Fei's gaze turned sinister, and he bellowed, then all of you will die here. Pure Lotus Demon Fire, let me witness your power. Chapter 1420, A Series of Instant Kills. Chapter 1420, A Series of Instant Kills. Buzz. Long Fei flipped his right hand, and an incomparably dazzling white fire lotus rose from the center of his palm. Long Fei looked at Nangong Yang and whispered, "Control the evil energy in your body." As soon as he finished, Long Fei's figure moved, rushing straight for Tian Xie. Tian Xie sneered and said, "You're courting death." Evil qi burst out from his body, suppressing Long Fei. In that instant, rumble. The two forces collided. With the explosion of the pure lotus demon fire, all of the elders of the evil heaven pavilion and Tian Xie's body were stained with the pure lotus demon fire. Long Fei retreated a little and smiled. Purify. Buzz. Burning nothingness, purifying power activated. Those who were touched by the slightest bit of demonic fire immediately began to burn their bodies. Moreover, the flames on their bodies could not be extinguished no matter how much they tried to pounce on them. They could not withstand it at all. Fire, fire. Extinguish the fire, help me extinguish the fire. Save me, save me. I don't want to die. One by one, they fell to the ground, their bodies slowly disappearing. It was not burnt into ashes, but it had completely disappeared. Not even a speck of it was left behind, and it had been purified from this world. This was the power of the pure lotus demon fire. Purify evil. As long as they touched even a little bit of it, they would be devoured and purified. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing an elder of the Heaven Evil Pavilion. You have gained 32011 experience, 3000 holy source, and 10 energy values. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing an elder of the Heaven Evil Pavilion. You have gained 32011 experience, 3000 holy source, and 10 energy values. The system beeps echoed crazily. As Long Fei watched the demons disappear one by one, his heart was extremely excited, not because he killed these people, but because of the power of the pure lotus demon fire. Powerful. What AF * king explosive display of strength. I can't get rid of her as long as I stand at a little bit. It's like a cow standing on its head. Awesome to the heavens, ha ha ha. Long Fei was ecstatic. If we can gather all the heavenly flames, that would be awesome. Let's see who will have the tempo in a second. However, this kind of thing depended on one's luck. There were too many types of heavenly flames. It was nearly impossible to gather all of them. Moreover, this was all controlled by the system and was not something that could be gathered just because Long Fei wanted to. He was already very satisfied that Long Fei was able to obtain the pure lotus demon fire. What is this? Tian Xie was furious. The flames on his body became stronger and stronger. Looking at the elders falling down beside him, his heart was going crazy. The Yi family members were the same. They looked at Long Fei in shock. They also wanted to know what kind of flame Long Fei had released. This kind of purification power was something they could not understand even after looking at it. The corner of Long Fei's mouth rose slightly as he laughed. Guess? Tian Xie glared and stared at Long Fei. Brat, don't be too arrogant. Yo. Only now do you know that I'm arrogant. Weren't you going to kill us all? How come you didn't know I was being arrogant at that time? Long Fei laughed contemptuously. I gave you a chance before, and you didn't know how to cherish it. And you took my things, injured my brothers, and now you want to leave after acting cool? Have you asked this, Daddy? Long Fei's voice sank. Tian Xie used his power to frantically resist, but it was simply impossible. He became scared and said, I don't want the Longyang marrow. From now on I will never step foot in Skyscraper City again. You said it earlier, you are the evil demons. How can you take the words of the evil demons seriously? Long Fei laughed. Stop talking nonsense, just tremble under my fire lotus slowly. Explode for me. He exploded forth with his strength. The pure lotus demon fire was like gasoline that was poured on it. It exploded out abruptly. The flames ignited Tian Xie. And then, in the blink of an eye, Tian Xie disappeared. Instant kill. It was also at this moment that all the elders and disciples of the evil heavenly pavilion were killed in an instant. Ding, ding, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Tian Xie for obtaining 49 million experience, 49,000 holy source points, and 10 energy values. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Long Yang Marrow. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Heaven's Less Sects token. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Heavenly Evil Sword. Congratulations, player. The system went berserk. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently level 4. Buzz. A warm current flowed through his body as the power in Long Fei's body increased. This was the feeling of having his power level increase, and his strength could clearly feel it. This type of feeling could only be described by one word. Awesome. The entire Heavenly Evil Pavilion was wiped out. The only ones left in the forbidden area were the confused Yi family clansmen. Also, there was still one more person, Yi Tiancheng. He stared at Long Fei with his mouth agape, as though he was looking at a demon. His body trembled, and his face turned pale. Long Fei did not even glance at Yi Tiancheng. The Yi family wouldn't let him go. Long Fei walked in front of Yi Tiancheng, took out the Long Yang Marrow and said, "I brought the Long Yang Marrow back for you. Let's go." Long Fei pulled Nangong Yang's hand and walked out. He saw Yi Jingyun and said, "Young Master Yi, I'll be waiting for you at the Tower Question of God Assessment Department." He did not want to stay any longer. The words of the Yi family people made him feel bad. If it wasn't for Yi Jingyun, he really couldn't be bothered to care about the Yi family. Moreover, he had a more important matter at hand. Now, the Hellfire Lotus fusion was only lacking to find a place to refine Sun God authentic artifact. Yi Tianxing wanted to keep Long Fei, but, however, he was unable to say a single word. It was useless for him to say anything right now, because he had never believed in Long Fei from the start. It was the same with his people. They even criticized and insulted Long Fei. Long Fei's big steps were like a slap on the faces of the Yi family clansmen. It was very uncomfortable. What Tower Question of God assessment? Jingyun, didn't you guys say that the Tower Question of God was eliminated? Yeah. Everyone in the Yi family thought that Yi Jingyun and the others had been eliminated. Yi Jingyun swept his gaze across the Yi family clansmen and laughed bitterly. Who said we were eliminated? Did I say that? You only know how to look down on people with your dog eyes. He was enraged. Yi Tianxing's gaze darkened. If the Yi family members knew that Long Fei was not eliminated, they would not have such an expression. Yi Jingyun's words felt like a slap on their faces. Incomparable pain. Yi Tianxing's heart hurt, and he made up his mind, the Yi family must be reformed. Somewhere. An old man smiled and said, "Good boy, you are much stronger than I expected, ha ha ha. Interesting, interesting. It's time to meet with you and prepare for your final push." Chapter 1421, Refining Authentic Artifact. Chapter 1421, Refining Authentic Artifact. Long Fei did not leave the skyscraper city. He still had to refine a Sun God authentic artifact, and the skyscraper city was the most intense place in the Earth Sun, so it was impossible for him to refine a Sun God authentic artifact if he left this place. Back at the clothing store, Nangong Yang was puzzled, and asked, "Why? Why did you release a flame that can instantly kill all the people from the evil heaven pavilion? Why did you let me control the evil energy in my body? Is that cultivation technique of yours specially used to deal with evil spirits? I didn't see you use it in the Punish Evil Secret territory. Is it a divine ability you have recently comprehended?" Nangong Yang's mind was filled with suspicions. The purification power that erupted from the pure lotus demon fire was just too strong. If she was touched by this tiny bit of fire, she wouldn't be able to resist either. Long Fei looked at her with a face full of doubt, and said slightly, "Don't worry about that. You only need to know one thing, I won't hurt you. Nangong Yang is from the evil god. The strongest power in her body was evil. The power of the pure lotus demon fire was specifically restrained." Nangong Yang's eyes trembled, and his pupils became somewhat moist. He immediately threw himself into Long Fei's embrace, and started sobbing softly. If only I hadn't been so willful, so spoiled, and so aggressive back then. Long Fei gently patted Nangong Yang's back. The night passed in silence. In order to maintain enough energy, he didn't clap. The sky was dimly lit. Before the sun had risen, Long Fei had already quietly ran out. The time when yang energy was the most intense was not noon, but early in the morning when the sun had just risen and purple energy was like the sun. It was the best time of the day. The best time to refine a sun god authentic artifact. At the highest point of Boss Long Fei's skyscraper city, in a remote place on a dangerous mountain. Huff. Long Fei let out a long breath, allowing his heart to calm down and achieve a calm state of mind. It's almost sunrise. The sleeping beauty said faintly, "Prepare yourself." Long Fei nodded and said, "Everything is ready." The sleeping beauty said, "Refining a yang god authentic artifact is an extremely painful process. It's not like refining ordinary artifacts. It needs your body as a container. Authentic artifact used their flesh to nourish themselves. Normally, authentic artifact would slowly fuse with their own power. After several years, they would fuse with their own power and slowly become an authentic artifact after dozens of years. The sun god authentic artifact were different. This was because it had yet to be refined. It was completely different from ordinary authentic artifact. Long Fei said, "As long as it can make me a little stronger, I can withstand any amount of pain." Become stronger. As long as he could become stronger, no matter what pain, Long Fei would never frown. In the gods' martial continent, it was the same. After entering the tower question of God, he realized that there were too many powerhouse in this world, too many of them. There were even stronger people there. If he wanted to become strong, he had to become stronger. The sleeping beauty said lightly, "All right, then let's begin." As soon as he finished, one of the sleeping beauty's idea exploded in Long Fei's sea of consciousness, and just as quickly as it was refining the Tathagata divine pellet, a large wave of super strong knowledge gushed in and dissipated. Long Fei's expression also suddenly changed. Next, the Destroy God Mind took it out, and with a flick of her right hand, boom, the power of the Hellfire Lotus burst forth. Long Fei's body became extremely hot as well. It was as if his entire body was burning, and every inch of his skin was assimilated into the flames. The fiery sun rose from the horizon. Long Fei's body started to frantically absorb the purple chi from the east, increasing the amount of yang energy he absorbed. Rumble. A rumbling sound could be heard from deep underground. Rumble. A thunderous roar came from above the ninth heaven. The sleeping beauty reminded him, "It's about to begin. We can't be distracted in the slightest right now." Long Fei said in a heavy tone, "Come then." With a sudden movement of the sleeping beauty's hand, a shadow of a giant hammer rushed out, directly slicing the Destroy God Mind stone into two halves, one half returning to the space ring, while the other half frantically refined in the flames, expelling the Destroy God Mind's impurities. His technique was as fast as lightning. It was shockingly fast. At the same time, an intense rumbling sound could be heard from the sky, from the ground below, and from the fiery sun in the sky. What is that sound? What happened? Could it be that the Long Yang marrow is erupting again? What a scorching aura. The ground is cracking from the heat. What is this? The Yi family members were all shocked. This kind of situation was the same as when the Long Yang marrow was formed, it was even more intense. The entire skyscraper city was trembling. "Chief, everything in the forbidden area is normal. There aren't any changes." Yi family's main hall. Many of the elders frowned. Yi Tianxing asked, "What's that? This has never happened before. Go investigate it immediately." Hiss, hiss. The sound of something being burned continuously came from Long Fei's body. It was incomparably painful, and burning within the flames was just too unbearable, but Long Fei did not utter a single word. She was completely at the mercy of the sleeping beauty. Boom, boom, boom. The air exploded once more, and it was a heavy blow. Every time he was hit, Long Fei's body would be forced to endure the impact of the unendurable power again and again. Flames emerged from the depths of the earth. All of them rushed into Long Fei's body. At this moment, he also felt the power of the flame that he felt from the god's general hellfire lotus when it picked up the previous day. Huff, huff, huff. Long Fei gritted his teeth as he said in his heart, Long Fei, you must endure it. You must resist it. Slowly, his body turned into a blue flame. The blue flame was extremely dazzling. It absorbed all the yang power between heaven and earth crazily, pouring in. Sun profound qi poured into his body. The yang qi from the 9 heavens crazily poured in. 3 streams of power unceasingly surged into Long Fei's body, and then used Long Fei's body to release a crazy amount of refinement, and continued to strike at him. Rumble. Rumble. The 3 suns in Long Fei's body converged. His fleshly body was also frantically tempering and transforming. In his mind, a gigantic black sword floated in the air. It was exactly the same as the sword that was forged in front of Long Fei. They were linked together. Rings after rings of the black sword emitted the blazing essence energy. This kind of energy made Long Fei feel like he was controlling the sun. It was extremely strong. His even stronger. Long Fei couldn't help but praise him. And then, the Sleeping Beauty said lightly, there is still one last step. Master, you must endure it. As soon as he finished, the Sleeping Beauty did not stay there for long. An incomparably strong power of consciousness was poured into the black sword. The sky suddenly exploded and an earth-shattering power exploded out. Rumble. At that moment, the system beeped. Ding. Chapter 1422, Destroying the Heavens. Chapter 1422, Destroying the Heavens. An earth-shattering sound exploded. His aura suddenly retracted. The sky returned to normal and the sound disappeared. A black sword floated in front of Long Fei. Was it a success or a failure? The system beep rang. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully refining the authentic artifact. It's a success. It's a success. The Sleeping Beauty was extremely excited, even more excited than Long Fei himself. This is unbelievable, I actually succeeded, it seems that I am truly omnipotent. Hee hee. Long Fei was startled, and said faintly, could it be that before you refined it, you didn't even think that it would succeed? The Sleeping Beauty stuck out her tongue and said, I don't know either. Anyway, I have succeeded in refining it for you, hey. I'm good, right? Master, when did you ask me to serve you? Long Fei, cough, cough, cough. He nearly choked on his words. The Sleeping Beauty said straightforwardly, I want to give birth to your child. Cough, cough, cough. Long Fei coughed continuously, what are you thinking about? The Sleeping Beauty giggled and said, I'm going to sleep. You can slowly study it yourself. I'm going to sleep. I'm so tired. Huff. The Sleeping Beauty yawned before turning around and falling asleep. Long Fei looked at the black greatsword that was quietly floating in front of him, and in his mind, the sword was also floating. Is this the authentic artifact? The authentic artifact of the sun god? Huff. It did not look anything special, just like an ordinary greatsword. However, Long Fei had never seen the flame pattern embedded under the Destroy God Mind Stone before, and the powerful consciousness from the last step had surged into the large sword, allowing it to have its own consciousness. This was a super divine weapon. Long Fei carefully opened up the system to check. Weapon, Black Greatsword, no name for now, rank, Spirit level, level 1, upgradable, can be upgraded to a main artifact, attributes, Purple Sun Force, Earth Sun Force, Sky Sun Force, Fire Force. Description, 3 Yang Convergence, Hellfire Lotus Refinement, Yang God's Consciousness, Power that reached the heavens, Sword slash, possessing the potential of a main artifact. Description 2, the authentic artifact is bred with the essence Yang. Description 3, able to release the fire divine power Zhu Rong Sword Qi. Looking at the system's description of the Black Great Sword, Long Fei's heart became excited, but can I become a main artifact? Damn, how much is this hanging? And it can also be used to hide the attribute, the fire god Zhu Rong Sword Qi. This sword. When Long Fei saw the enormous sword body holding onto it with a heavy grip, The instant he grabbed onto the hilt, the sword in his mind and the sword in his hand suddenly merged into one. The sword chi burst out. A fire sword chi, visible to the naked eye, was formed and swept out. Shua. Whoosh. Whoosh. A thin crack appeared in the space around Long Fei. The instant he held the sword, it exploded with such a powerful sword chi. This sword was simply too strong. Then, with a move of Long Fei's power, a holy source was injected into it, and a bizarre scene played out. The black broadsword frantically transformed, changing from black to gold. Moreover, what was even more eye-catching was that the entire sword was ignited. Holding it in his hand was like holding a ball of fire. The visual impact was simply explosive. Holy Sha *T. Long Fei's eyes trembled, his blood seemed to be ignited as he fiercely swung it. Shua. The flames flashed, and a stream of sword chi shot out like an EZ move, forming a crescent shape and shooting out 100 miles away. Gudong. Long Fei swallowed his saliva. Fuck, with this sword, I'm going to use an endless EZ move. My god, my god. Ha ha ha. Ding. System prompt, please name a name. Long Fei grinned, destroying the heavens. Ding. Naming successful. Heaven Destroyer. Long Fei raised his eyes slightly, looked at the sky and said, I want to use the sword in my hand to destroy you, so that you will not be able to obstruct my view anymore. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed like a madman, the sound of his laughter thunderous and thunderous. It was as if the sky was enraged. Indeed. The sky was indeed angry, and a god from the main temple was raging. Flames filled the sky and a divine seat in the sky was frantically burning. Young God has left the nether hell. Who is it? Who let him out? Why? Why would his aura appear in a low realm like the Chaos Realm? Endless rage. The incomparably huge gods of the void divine seat did not respond in any way. After a long time, a deity said, the Chaos Realm has been having a tough time recently. First, someone broke free from the control of fate, and then someone brought out the sun god from the nether realm. A tiny Chaos Realm is born to be extraordinary. If we can't control this extraordinary Chaos Realm for us, it will become a disaster in the future. Humph. The flame god let out a loud shout, and his breath was filled with flames. He said with disdain, a mere lower plane trash wants to overturn the heavens? So what if the sun god escapes? He was just defeated. You should know that his divine sun plane is still in my hands. Even if he escapes, he wouldn't be able to do anything. I just took him out, he must not be a simple person. A deity said, could it be someone from the Dark Army? Evil god. Him. He is not qualified enough, nor is he capable of doing so. The flame god denied it. Destiny god asked, then who could it be? Just now, I have investigated and found that there is no such person in the entire 10,000 worlds who is capable of producing the Yang Soul divine sense from the nether hell. So you mean the powerhouses that are outside of the 10,000 realms? The eyes of the flame god tightened. Suddenly, all of the deities on top of the divine seats trembled slightly. It can't be the primordial god realm, right? Impossible. With the fall of the ancient god and the disappearance of the primordial god realm, it would be absolutely impossible for them to interfere with the planes we control. What if he's still here? The gods were slightly startled. The flame god's eyebrows creased. After pondering for a long time, he said, this matter must be investigated thoroughly. If it's not possible, I suggest that we wipe out the entire Chaos Realm. I second that. Destiny God was the first to stand up and reply. Not good. He killed billions of people just like that. They are merely ants. We absolutely cannot let these ants have any chance. An ant should understand the concept of being an ant, but if he wants to go against the heavens, then he should pay a heavy price. The Flame Fairy said, it's just a minor plane. If it's gone, it's gone. There's no impact at all. Humans were ants to gods. From beginning to end, he was always weak. The gods of Main Temple did not permit anyone to have the ability to resist them. Such a person. Even if they couldn't find it, they would wipe out the entire plane, because then they wouldn't have to trouble themselves to find it. This was a god. Cruelty, viciousness, and chilliness. Chapter 1423, Giving Bosses. Chapter 1423, Giving Bosses. Authentic artifacts and flesh also required a certain amount of time to grow, so they took it as a part of their body. After putting away destroying sky, Long Fei turned around and was about to leave. The moment he turned around, he saw a person standing in front of him. He had never seen this person before, so he did not know this person. However, but there was a very familiar feeling. This feeling was very special. The old man laughed and said, "Long Fei." Long Fei was startled and asked, "You are?" The old man laughed excitedly, "Yang Huang ancestor." "Yang Huang ancestor?" Both of Long Fei's eyes trembled, and instantly looked at the old man in front of him with incomparable excitement. "You're really Yang Huang ancestor?" It wasn't that he didn't believe her, but it was too sudden. Yang Huang ancestor laughed, "You exposed me from the great temple in the Fire Li Imperial Palace. Your dragon Salya was created by me, and I helped you pass through hell with your 9 secret underworld finches." One thing after another was said. Everything was just like what happened yesterday. Long Fei looked at the old man in front of him with even more excitement. "Patriarch." Long Fei rushed forward and immediately hugged Yang Huang ancestor. It was impossible for him to reach this far in God's martial continent without his help. His heart was filled with gratitude. Similarly, if the Yang Huang ancestor did not have Long Fei, he would not have been able to reconstruct his fleshly body, and he would not be able to stand in front of Long Fei. All right, you can let go now. Long Fei, you brat, I'm not going to be gay." The two let go and burst out laughing at the same time. And then, Yang Huang ancestor said, "My time is limited, you must remember everything I say next." Next. Yang Huang ancestor had told Long Fei a few things, and when he heard these things, Long Fei's heart was incomparably shocked, and at the same time, incomparably excited. Half an hour later, Yang Huang ancestor said heavily, "You must break through the tower question of God's shackles and enter the 100 levels of ancient holy battlefield. That is your true battlefield. Before that, I will do everything I can to prepare everything for you. Long Fei, this chance must not be missed, definitely not." Finished. Just now, Long Fei had refined the Sun God authentic artifact and also angered the Flame God main temple. Long Fei was now even more dangerous than before. Once the Destiny God found out that he was still alive, it would be even more dangerous. As he watched Yang Huang ancestor leave, Long Fei clenched both his fists tightly. "In more than 3 years, you have prepared everything. I will definitely not let you down." The moment Yang Huang ancestor returned to the Chaos Realm, he had been preparing for Long Fei. Moreover, the power of the Yang Huang ancestor was far greater than what Long Fei had imagined. Long Fei returned to the clothing store with 2 breakfasts in hand. When he walked into the shop, Nangong Yang immediately threw himself into Long Fei's embrace and muttered, "And here I thought you were going to abandon me, not me." Long Fei said, "Idiot, I'm just going out to buy breakfast. After breakfast, we'll head back to the Tower Question of God Assessment Board." Long Fei had already made up his mind. The things that Yang Huang ancestor had said were simply too exciting. He had to go all out. Nangong Yang nodded lightly and said, "Amen." Not long after, Yi Jingyun ran in and said, "Young Master Long, are you all here? Do you all know about what happened in Skyscraper City this morning? The sun-refined spirit that we, the Yi family, are guarding, is rapidly drying up, but it was also in an instant that 9 Long Yang marrow were condensed. It's too strange." Yi Jingyun looked at Long Fei and said, "Young Master Long, could it be that this has something to do with the fire lotus you picked up yesterday?" Long Fei pretended not to know anything and said, "I don't." "Young Master Yi, are you going to go back to the Tower Question of God?" Yi Jingyun laughed bitterly and said, "The Yi family is in a mess right now. I want to stay 1 more day to help father stabilize the situation. After all, he is my father, and this is my home." Understood. Long Fei understood Yi Jingyun. Since this was his home, if that's the case, then we'll head back first. Yi Jingyun did not urge him to stay, and said, "All right, good journey young Master Long." Half a day later, Tower question of God Assessment Board. Long Fei returned to his residence and Nangong Yang returned to his own courtyard. Long Fei's aura trembled as he felt exterminate the heavens in his mind. The holy source surged and slowly nourished, and the aura of the hellfire lotus within his body also slowly nourished his flesh. Both his body and the authentic artifact were becoming stronger bit by bit. At the back cliff, Song Kuang knelt on the ground and said, "Master, Long Fei is back." Zhon Wushuang laughed coldly and said, "Got it, have your people investigated yet?" Song Kuang said. He made a trip to the skyscraper city, just in time to feel the Yi family's coup. He helped out a little, but the Yi family does not like him. There's something very strange. The Longyang marrow that the Yi family is protecting was born with a single drop after 10,000 years of gestation. However, this time, it would not be more than a day before the 10 drops were born. Zhon Wushuang looked up. Longyang marrow, Song Kuang said, "This is the Yi family's foundation. Rumors have it that this Longyang marrow has the ability to revive the dead, a spirit treasure that can only be born after 10,000 years. Zhon Wushuang laughed and said, "All right, you can go now." "Yes, sir." After Song Kuang left, Zhon Wushuang laughed coldly and said, "Long Fei, everything about you will disappear. This time, I will make it so that you will never be able to get back up. Ha ha ha. Fight with me? You want to steal my woman? Long Fei, you don't have the qualifications, do you understand?" After Long Fei left for 2 days, Zhon Wushuang did not stay idle and instead made a trip back to the 9 secret warrior family, and had a thorough understanding of the situation in the Beast City. He wanted to uproot and eradicate all of Long Fei's influence in the Chaos Realm. Whoosh whoosh, whoosh whoosh, * Long Fei waved the pitch-black heaven decimating sword art. In Chaos Realm, he had never practiced any sword techniques, but he was starting from the most basic sword techniques. One strike, one strike. He practiced for a day and night without any rest. 3 days of vacation were over. On the 4th day, all of the disciples gathered in martial arts arena. Yi Seng stood on the stage and said faintly, "The 4th round is about survival. You will be sent to the extreme. You must unite and face everything together. Do you understand?" Also, Yi Seng looked to another place and said, "This time, there will be a few juniors who will be taking part in the assessment. They will follow you to the place where you guys have reached your limits." At this time, the 4 of them walked onto the stage. They were all dressed in strange clothes, and the aura exuded from their bodies was very special. It may be nothing to others, but Long Fei felt that they were a little strange when he looked at them. He was stunned when he saw them through the system. Golden. In addition, the golden light being emitted by every single one of them was exceptionally intense. Damn. 4 bosses. What's the situation? Chapter 1424 Holy Source exhausted, Assassin attacks. Chapter 1424 Holy Source exhausted, Assassin attacks. Odd clothes, very special. Furthermore, all of their expressions were cold and detached, as if, could not help but think of the undying puppet in Hellgate's Undying Legion, and their expressions seemed to be the same. However, who cares what he was, Long Fei was certain that these guys were all boss-level monsters. They were all his experience points. The survival test lasts for 3 days. After 3 days, you will be automatically transported back. Within 3 days, you will face all kinds of difficulties. Remember, you must persevere. Yi Seng warned. Secret World transmission gate opened. All of the disciples entered the secret world one by one. The 4 shift boys were the first to enter, and quickly disappeared without a trace. "Young Master Long, let's go together." Yi Jingyun walked over and said excitedly, "I also brought something this time." Long Fei asked, "What?" Yi Jingyun passed a Longyang marrow pearl to Long Fei, and said, "This is my thanks on behalf of the Yi family. Thank you young Master Long for saving me this time, otherwise, the Yi family would have already passed away." Actually, this was Yi Jingyun's own Longyang marrow. The Yi family did not plan to give any compensation to Long Fei. Long Fei was not an idiot, he naturally knew that he wanted to refuse. However, Yi Jingyun's eyes were blazing as if he didn't know anything, and said, "Then thank you." Yi Jingyun was immediately overjoyed, and said, "Ha ha ha. That's more like it." If he didn't, then his heart wouldn't be able to get away with it. After all, he wouldn't feel good about what the Yi family people said. Long Fei kept the Longyang marrow and thought to himself, "There is still a large wave of destroy god mine. Let's go in." Nangong Yang reminded her. Long Fei and the other two walked into the secret world. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for coming to Ice and Snow Plain. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering the hidden quest, Search for Ice and Snow City. When Long Fei entered the secret world, he immediately felt a sense of familiarity. Everything here felt like the plains he had experienced in the God's Martial Continent's examination grounds. Snow Region Secret World. Very similar, very similar. Moreover, at this time, the goddess Ter seemed to think it was glowing with a red light, and Long Fei's heart moved. Did we come to the right place? Is there a secret about the goddess Ter here? Hiss. It's so cold. The holy source in my pubes is constantly being wretched. The pubes is about to run dry. What the hell is this place? Yi Jingyun rubbed his hands together and took a sip. Nangong Yang also said, "My holy source is also falling." Not only the two of them, even the disciples who entered the Ice and Snow Plain were the same. Long Fei was the same. Although his holy source was not among the pubes, its value was crazily declining. If a warrior lost his holy source value, he would be a mage lost his magic and would just be a piece of trash. The holy source was the source of all energy. There was no holy source. Nothing. This place could be said to be a place of death. Young Master Wushuang, they have entered the Ice and Snow Plain. Zhon Wushuang's face revealed a complacent smile, and said, "In 3 days, there will not be even a trace of your corpse, ha ha ha. Play with me. I can play you to death with my fingers. Send a message to the Hell Gate. This time, when I go all out, I want Beast City and Long Fei's entire force to disappear from this world in one night. In addition, let my second uncle participate in this operation." Zhon Wushuang said quickly. Zhon Wushuang understood this very clearly. He was regretting killing Long Fei back then and gave him the chance to rise to prominence. Long Fei's growth speed was just too fast. If he was not restrained, then as long as Shenyuan Li knew that he was still alive, then everything he had done would have been in vain. Shenyuan Li definitely could not tell him that Long Fei was still alive. She must be able to clear the 100 levels of Tower Question of God, and must enter the ancient holy battlefield. Because she had a power that could help him soar into the sky. This kind of power only had one chance. If he failed, then he would forever lose the shortcut to becoming a god. Heh. Long Fei, just disappear from this world forever. Zhon Wushuang laughed sinisterly. At this moment, Hellgate went all out. The Undying Puppet Legion. The Blood Fiend Elders of the Hellgate were all Emperor list, the super powerhouse on top of the Son of God ranking. There were even powerhouse on the Heavenly Emperor list. Either he wouldn't make a move and never gave the opponent a chance to turn around. Ice and Snow Plain. 3 hours later, Long Fei's holy source only remained 1/3 of the way. On the other hand, Nangong Yang and the others had already used up their holy source. Extreme survival? Are you trying to trick us to death? If this goes on, we'll all die here. Everyone, think of a way. The group of people moved very slowly. Each and every one of them was incomparably dejected. They were like trash here. What about young Master Long? If this goes on, we won't be able to hold on for 3 days. Yi Jingyun said. Long Fei used his points to exchange for 2 holy sources and said, "Each of you take one, it will take a period of time." Long Fei was also secretly anxious in his heart. If this carried on, he would definitely not be able to, and his holy source would also be exhausted. Moreover, the 4 bosses did not appear. It was simple, they were waiting for Long Fei's holy source to be exhausted. If they could come in, they would be prepared. They would not do anything unless it was the last moment. No way. I need to find a way to replenish my holy source. Long Fei's heart sank. The way he replenished the holy source was very simple. The holy source pill required over 1,000,000 points each. After exchanging for 2 just now, he barely had any points left. Other than a few special items, all of the things inside his space ring were eaten by them. There was basically nothing else that could be exchanged for points. Wait. Long Fei was ecstatic, and thought to himself, I have the ability to teleport endlessly. I left my eyes in the Beast City. Long Fei moved, but what made him curious was that he could not sense the existence of the true eye. Ding. System notification. The special secret world cannot use the teleportation function. System notification. The special secret world is unable to view maps of the outside world. Damn. Are you trying to play me to death? Long Fei wanted to use the power of super teleportation to teleport back and forth, but he was restricted. I have to get rid of this crisis first. Long Fei's heart secretly stirred, and then he revealed a trembling expression. I've used up all of my holy sauce. What should we do? Yi Jingyun said, you have only used up it now, I have already used up it. Long Fei's acting skills were on the level of an actor. However, this time, even if he had the acting skills of the Oscars, it would still be useless. Another few hours passed. The system sounded out. Ding. System notification. Holy source value is exhausted. There were not even a bit of holy source left, so Long Fei was not even able to release a single bit of cultivation technique. Just at this time, 4 people could be seen standing there silently. It was as if they could see through Long Fei. After the holy source was exhausted, they appeared. These 4 people. Very extraordinary. Chapter 1425, A Punch on the Head. Chapter 1425, A Punch on the Head. Coincidentally, Long Fei's holy source had run out and they appeared. Long Fei was completely different from ordinary Chenrank warriors. The holy source he possessed now was worth more than 4 million, 4 times more than ordinary people. No one knew that. But when Long Fei exhausted his holy source 1 second, they appeared the next. It was no coincidence. He had seen through Long Fei. An assassin who had come prepared. Yi Jingyun grinned. What are these 4 doing? Once you enter the secret world, you will disappear, and now that you have suddenly appeared, you are acting extremely secretively. Nangong Yang reminded them in a low voice, the holy source on them is very plentiful and their strength is not simple. I keep having the feeling that these 4 people are not ordinary people. Long Fei reminded them, from now on, stay far away from me. The holy source was exhausted. No matter how strong the technique was, the holy artifact could not release it, and could only handle it carefully. The 2 of them were stunned. However, at this moment, before the 2 of them could react, the 4 sides had already attacked at an extremely fast speed. It was impossible to see clearly with the naked eye. Having lost their holy source, they were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Long Fei's heart was moved. Xiao Luo divine body. Ding. System notification. The holy source is low. Golden cudgel. Ding. System notification. The holy source is low. Everything required holy source to activate, so he could not release it at all. 4 golden beams of light shot down from the sky at the same time. No one had time to react. A loud rumble resounded. Long Fei was directly flung out, heavily smashing onto the ground. His chest seemed to be on the verge of splitting apart, as a mouthful of blood came out of his mouth and his face turned pale white. What are you doing? Yi Jingyun cursed, and his entire person rushed forward, his strength too weak. Without the support of the holy source, his power would be even weaker. The 4 killers were stunned. They did not wait for Yi Jingyun to get close and directly threw a palm attack. Boom. Yi Jingyun simply did not have enough time to react and was sent flying. Nangong Yang then ran towards Long Fei. Suddenly, all the surrounding disciples looked at each other and retreated to the side. There was no one who would help Long Fei since they were not his match. Song Kuang laughed complacently and said, Long Fei, you also have such a day, ha ha ha. Feels good. Damn it, how are you going to fight back without any holy source to absorb it? Aren't you awesome? Come on, ha ha ha. Is he a dead dog now? Song Kuang was extremely excited. Seeing that Long Fei was smashed to the ground, he could not help but laugh out loud. Deep down, he hated Long Fei to the bones. However, He was not Long Fei's match, and could not kill Long Fei at all. Now that he saw Long Fei being crushed, he was extremely pleased. The few lackeys beside Song Kuang also started to curse. Long Fei crawled up from the ground with much difficulty. When he saw Nangong Yang, who was running over, he immediately shouted, "Don't come over here." The gazes of the four people slightly turned cold. To be able to stand up while the four of them were working together, Long Fei's physical defense was truly amazing. However, it was useless to stand up. He still had to die. The four of them moved, the four golden beams flickered, and once again rushed towards Xiong Long Fei. Holy sauce! Holy sauce! I need holy sauce! Long Fei was extremely anxious. Right now, he was just a super sports car, but without gas, he wouldn't be able to start it. Even if he had a few thousand holy sauce points now, it would still be fine. Long Fei, be careful. Rumble. Rumble. Long Fei was once again sent flying. This time, his injuries were even worse, his internal organs were all shaken and rolling, his sea of consciousness and mental state did not stop there. Unwell. An indescribable pain. He had never worried about the value of the holy sauce. This was because his holy sauce could only be absorbed by killing people and monsters. However, right now, the ice and snow plane did not have any demon beast to replenish its value. No demon beast. But there's someone here. Suddenly, Long Fei's mind shook. Person? He stared at Song Kuang, who was standing far away. Song Kuang laughed proudly. What are you looking at me for? Long Fei, you dog, continue to be arrogant. Look how pitiful you are now. Serves you right. Ha ha ha. He laughed with pride. Luo Feng, who was standing beside them, also laughed complacently. At this moment, Long Fei's mouth hooked up, and revealed a cold smile. I'll make you cry later. Then, Long Fei crawled up from the ground again, looked at the four killers and heavily shouted, Come? Come again, is this all you have? He's really too weak. Right now, Long Fei was 100 meters away from Song Kuang. If this distance was placed in the past, it would only take an instant, but now, not at all. He needed the power of four killers. They need to send themselves over. The eyes of the four of them moved, their killing intent became even stronger. The four of them took out their swords, their bodies releasing the power of blood vein, and the air was filled with the roars of ferocious beasts. 4 sword strikes. It was as if 4 gigantic demon beasts were coming over madly. The air exploded and the pressure was as great as a mountain. Long Fei was simply unable to move. Long Fei! Nangong Yang shouted loudly. There was nothing she could do, she had just recovered a little of her holy sauce and it was immediately used up. She could not resist the power of the ice and snow plane's devouring force at all. Song Kuang started laughing out loud. Long Fei, go and die. Ha ha ha. Long Fei stood at the same place, clenching his fists tightly. He tensed up the energy in his body, not to defend himself. It was used to attack. Rumble. The 4 swords descended, 4 immense energies striking Long Fei's body. The 4 swords at his chest pierced through Long Fei's body, fresh blood crazily gushed out like a pillar. His body flew into the air and landed heavily on the ground. Phut! Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood, and the corner of his eyes twitched slightly. He was still a few meters away from Song Kuang. This distance. He couldn't do it now. However, there were always some self-righteous bitch. Song Kuang was one of them. Seeing Long Fei's chest being pierced and falling in the snow like a dead person, he immediately laughed and said, "For sirs, allow me to display my skills. I will definitely let him have a taste of my methods." Finished. Song Kuang walked to Long Fei's side, and looked down at Long Fei from above, laughing proudly. Long Fei, you also had such a day. I never thought that you would die at my hands, right? Ha ha ha. Don't worry, after you die, I'll take over your woman, and your brotherhood will become my lackey. Ha ha ha. He was overjoyed. Long Fei looked at the condescending Song Kuang, and the sneer on his face grew thicker. Laugh? Heh heh. I will make you cry. Boom. With all of his strength, he punched out and roared, "Turn into my holy sauce." Rumble. With a leap, his fist landed on Song Kuang's lower jaw, and directly penetrated it. The power exploded Song Kwong's head. The system beeped. Ding. Chapter 1426, Consecutive Killing Strikes. Chapter 1426, Consecutive Killing Strikes. The system beep was so beautiful. For the first time, Long Fei felt that system beep could actually be this pleasing to the ear, allowing people to be relaxed and happy. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Song Kwong for obtaining 19,000 experience, 1,800 holy source points, 10 energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Blue Flame Divine Sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Shen Crystal 212. The system continuously exploded. Song Kwong even dropped a few things. His level was about the same as Long Fei's, and the reason why he could kill with a single punch was because he had lost his holy source. His holy artifact's defensive treasure could not be activated. In addition, he was extremely pleased with himself. He killed him with a single punch. What was there to do with 1,800 holy source points? There was nothing to be done. He could not release any kind of cultivation technique. This kind of holy source was simply too lacking for a cultivation technique, and the moment the holy source entered his body, it would immediately be consumed. However, Long Fei did not think about what technique he should use to kill the four of them. The moment they killed Song Kwong, the idea moved and shouted, "Main gun, buzz." 1,000 holy source points had been used. The dragon coffin on his shoulder locked his gaze onto a person. Ding. Target locked. Long Fei did not even think about it, and immediately pulled the trigger, shouting out, "Blast it to death." Boom. When the main gun flew out, the four of them were shocked, and scattered in all directions. His speed was extremely fast. However, no matter how fast he was, how could he be faster than main gun? As long as I lock onto you, I will die. Rumble. In less than a tenth of a second, a glittering killer was blown to smithereens. Not even a scrap was left behind. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing 4 beast killers for obtaining 200,000 experience, 18,000 holy source points, and 10 energy values points. Congratulations, player. Long Fei did not care what happened. Right now, the only thing he wanted to do was to get them all back. Kill me. F***CK. Zhon Wushuang only sent you trash over? Swish. With an angry curse, the dragon coffin withdrew. Long Fei's footsteps moved, and quickly rushed out. With a flip of his right hand, a ball of white flames appeared in his palm. An assassin's sword stabbed forward. Long Fei pressed his palm down, and shouted, "Die. Pure lotus demon fire." Boom. Long Fei was enraged, flames ignited, and the strong power of the heavenly flame engulfed the assassin in an instant. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing 4 beast killers for obtaining 200,000 experience, 18,000 holy source and 10 energy values. This wasn't the end. The holy source's value had already reached 30,000 points. At this moment, the remaining 2 killers did not have any time to think, and quickly escaped. Although their cultivation was much higher than Long Fei's, but in terms of strength, they were clear that they were not his opponents. The reason why they were sent to kill Long Fei was because they had a special sensing ability towards the value of the holy source. He could feel if there was any holy source in his body. It was also because of this that they appeared the moment Long Fei's holy source emptied. However, they had never thought that Long Fei would actually be able to obtain the holy source by killing someone, and that he would even be able to roll snowballs, big and small. Under such circumstances, Long Fei and the rest were simply not his match. Escape was the only choice. Fleeing. Does Laozi agree? Roared. Being struck by the combined attack of the 4 people made him feel extremely displeased. Your grandmother. Long Fei flipped his right hand, Heaven Destroyer, hand over. Boom. A huge black sword landed in Long Fei's hands. With a move of the holy source, the black long sword crazily combusted into a flaming long sword. It was abnormally fierce and ferocious. Long Fei waved his right hand and swept out. Whoosh. A stream of half-moon sword chi slashed out. The scene seemed to have been enlarged by an EZ. Shua. The EZ directly charged at a person. In mid-air, the man's body was cut into two halves by the fiery sword chi and fell to the ground. The other person disappeared into the boundless white snow without a trace. Long Fei's anger in his heart hadn't been quelled in the slightest after killing 4 people with lightning speed, and it had even grown more intense. Zhong Wushuang, you must put me to death, right? You must kill me, right? Sure. If I don't flip you over, I, Long Fei, will write backwards. I'm so unhappy. Extremely displeased. After being hunted down multiple times, the 3 powers joined forces. To come to this tower question of God assessment and target everything. If I don't show my power, do you really think I am a sick cat? This time, Long Fei was angry. If he did not have the striking system, Long Fei could have killed Song Kuang in a flash of light and obtained the holy source value that allowed the dragon coffin to open up. Zhong Wushuang will take care of everything. Moreover, why did there suddenly be an additional student for the Tower Question of God exam? It was very obvious that this was also arranged by Zhong Wushuang. The anger that was suppressed in Long Fei's heart slowly flared up. This time, he was truly furious. Heh! Trash. 3 of the 4 statues of fierce beasts in front of Zhong Wushuang had fallen, which meant that the 3 people were already dead. The space between his eyebrows tightened slightly. Zhong Wushuang's eyes were dark and cold, and said, Long Fei, you can consider yourself lucky this time, but do you think you can get out? Ha ha ha. The ice and snow plane will forever disappear from the Tower Question of God and all of you will die inside. The killer was just a small arrangement. Since he could not kill Long Fei, he would take the second step. Destroy the secret world's exit. There was only one exit to ice and snow plane, and if it was destroyed, Long Fei and the others would never be able to get out. Not coming out was no different from dying. At this moment, an old man walked in and said lightly, Wushuang, the 60th floor is already prepared. You can go in now. Zhong Wushuang replied respectfully, Thank you, holy saint. That matter. The old man said, I have already ordered some people to do it, as long as you are not distracted and break through the first 100 levels of Tower Question of God, we will help you with any of your requests. Zhong Wushuang said, This disciple will definitely give it his all. Right. Holy saint, I wonder how my fiancée, Leah, is doing right now? The old man said, She has already entered the 40th level. Her cultivation is progressing very quickly, but her heart was filled with a vicious intent. This killing intent would obstruct her, and she would only be able to reach the 80th level at most. This should be her limit. Zhong Wushuang's eyes turned sinister as he cursed in his heart, Smelly bitch, you're still thinking of taking revenge for Long Fei. Lousy has given you face, right? Zhong Wushuang was very unhappy. The more Shenyuan Li was like this, the more he hated Long Fei to the bone in his heart. The saint said slightly, There is nothing more important in this world than becoming a god. As long as you become a god, you can look down on everything else. You have the potential to become a deity. Let go of everything. You can fly even faster. No one can stop you. When you become a god, everyone will have to kneel before you. Do you understand? Chapter 1427, Gigantic Ice Snakes. Chapter 1427, Gigantic Ice Snakes. The Tower Question of God was the service organization of the gods. Provide fresh blood for ancient holy battlefield. Once the disciple they offered receives an outstanding battle achievement or merit point, then the disciple may also receive a divine spark as a reward for reaching the divine ascendant level. Similarly, they can also get more of God's reward. After 10,000 years, Zhong Wushuang was the one who had the best talent in the Chaos Realm, and was most likely to create merits in the ancient holy battlefield. To Tower Question of God, he was a treasure. More than half of the elders of the Tower Question of God had their eyes on him, adding his illustrious identity. 9 Secret Warrior family was a dragon amongst men. Train him with all your might. All he needed to do was say it out loud and someone would take care of it. Just like this time, the ice and snow plane exit. Destroy the secret world's exit in front of the Yi Seng. Moreover, Yi Seng was beaten half to death. Without giving any reason at all, Not even 100 people could be compared to Zhong Wushuang alone. Inside the tower, question of God. Wang Shusha was being suppressed, and he did not even have the qualifications to speak. Since the third elder had been suppressed, he had no real power now. Yi Seng had already become crippled, and deprived of the position of examination elder, becoming a cripple. Moreover, it was as if all of this had never happened. No explanation was given. Just with a single sentence, he had to give way to Zhong Wushuang. It was just this overbearing and barbaric. This was the method. He made all the people who were optimistic about Long Fei give up at once. He had to say it. Zhong Wushuang was very smart. He knew how to make use of his advantage and strength, or he would never make a move and would destroy the world the moment he made a move. He would never give you another chance to recover. At the same time, Beast City, the gathering of the Hell's army, had encircled the Beast City so tightly that not even a drop of water could leak out. In the ice and snow plain, Long Fei, Nangong Yang, and Yi Jingyun were walking together, and did not follow another group of people. Young Master Long, I can't see the end of it at all. Where's the ice and amp, Snow City? Yi Jingyun said slightly. There was no stopping the heavy snow at all. The entire land was covered in a vast expanse of whiteness. There was no end to be seen and no presence could be felt. It was like a forgotten world. Long Fei was also wondering in his heart, is there really a ice and amp, Snow City here? The system will not make any errors. The ice and amp, Snow City must be on this ice and snow plain. Nangong Yang said slightly, Long Fei, if the snow doesn't stop falling, even a city built on top of a tall mountain would be covered by the snow. Yi Jingyun was startled for a moment, and said, that's right, could it be frozen under the layer of snow? Long Fei shook his head and said, let's talk after the ice and lightning return. The Ice Thunderbird was not afraid of the cold. He was sent out by Long Fei to search for the ice and amp, Snow City, and if it could not find them, then the three of them were even worse. Ice and amp, Snow City? I know about the Ice Snow Festival, this ice and amp, Snow City. Long Fei muttered in his heart, the Goddess Tear's mission was SSS class super difficult, it was impossible to complete it so easily. Long Fei knew this too. He could only wait for the Ice Thunder to return. Also, there was still another assassin hiding in ice and snow plain. Long Fei had to be careful. His holy source had been completely used up again. Half an hour later, the Ice Thunderbird landed and said, no, there isn't any city, could there be a mistake? I've been flying tens of thousands of kilometers and I haven't even seen a single one. Not to mention any cities. Long Fei frowned. Yi Jingyun secretly clicked his tongue, we couldn't even find it tens of thousands of kilometers. Damn, if we were to go find him, his body would probably be frozen stiff, right? Nangong Yang looked at Long Fei, and said, why do you have to find the ice and amp, Snow City, is there something important? Long Fei did not answer, but asked, is there anything special about it, or should I say, special about it? There was no mistake when the system issued a quest. It was just hard to find. The Ice Thunderbird thought for a moment and said, there's a place that's rather high. I went down to take a look and I think it's a hill. This is the only special place, there's nothing else. Mountain? Long Fei pondered for a moment, then said, bring us there. Long Fei jumped up. Yi Jingyun said, young Master Long, what's so good about this hill? Let's find a place to avoid the heavy snow. If this goes on, we will freeze to death here. Nangong Yang jumped up, are you going or not? Yi Jingyun immediately said, go. 10 minutes later, the Ice Thunderbird descended and said, I'm going back to the war pet space. There was a time limit for war beasts. Long Fei did not stop them as the Ice Thunderbird entered Long Fei's space ring. Long Fei looked at the hill and said slightly, this should be the spine of the mountain. The Sleeping Beauty seemed to have woken up at an unknown time. She giggled and said, Master, don't you have a long young marrow on you? You just need to activate its power. Huh. Long Fei was slightly taken aback, and said, is it useful? The Sleeping Beauty said with a smile, you'll know once you give it a try. Long Fei did not hesitate to do as he was told. Holding the long young marrow in his hand, He released a ball of warm air and a dense chi followed suit. Long Yang Marrow. Chaos Realm's power of the Earth Sun. An incomparably thick heat. Yi Jingyun was startled, and said, Long Yang Marrow can heat up, why didn't I think of that? It's too comfortable. Long Fei carefully looked at the Long Yang Marrow, and could clearly feel the change in the Long Yang Marrow, and he also felt something moving underground. Did you find anything? Long Fei asked. Yi Jingyun had a satisfied face, and said, What's up? Nangong Yang also shook his head. How strange. Am I the only one who can feel it? Long Fei muttered as he felt something was approaching them from the ground. This feeling became stronger and stronger. Suddenly, without waiting for Long Fei to react, he shouted, Boom! With a loud noise, a snake-like monster rushed out of the layer of snow. Its two crystalline eyes stared fixedly at Long Fei, and both of Long Fei's eyes shook slightly. Nangong Yang and Yi Jingyun were both stunned. What kind of divine horse is this? It was incomparably huge. He was carrying Xuanar Bai's power and aura. Just like a divine beast, it was glittering with golden light, a characteristic of a superboss. Long Fei yelled, Be careful. The giant snake stared at the Long Yang Marrow in Long Fei's hands and rolled its body. Rumble. He crawled under the layer of snow and moved about crazily. The three of them did not have any holy source to support them, so they could only watch on in a daze. The giant ice serpents were frantically spinning under their feet, just like a millstone. Suddenly, Long Fei's eyes darkened, and shouted, Crap! Run! Before they could finish their sentence, the layer of snow beneath their feet suddenly sank and fell into a huge hole in the ice. The moment they fell, the huge snake on the ground opened its bloody mouth and chased after them. Young Master Long, we are finished. Table of Contents. Table of Contents, it was going down like crazy, and it got bigger and bigger as it went down. After a period of darkness, a ray of Xuanar Bai's dazzling light, causing people to be unable to open their eyes. At this moment, a series of arrows were shot out. Su, 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 Su. All of them carried Xuanar Bai's halos of light. The power of the arrow was very ferocious. Yi Jingyun shouted loudly, Young Master Long, be careful. Long Fei looked at the direction that the arrows were flying in, and was not aiming at them. Nangong Yang suddenly said, The holy source in the pubes has recovered. Nangong Yang swiftly moved, instantly blocking in front of Long Fei. Like a super female bodyguard, he suddenly formed a thick barrier with his hands. Yi Jingyun. Yi Jingyun also instantly felt that the holy source in his body had recovered. He grinned and said, Understood. He dashed forward and grabbed the arrows that were shooting at him. Then, he shouted, Here you go. With a sudden movement, all of the arrows were flung away by Yi Jingyun. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, dozens of arrows flew back the way they came. Long Fei's heart tensed up, he had no time to stop them. A few cries of pain came from below and a deep voice sounded out, These people really don't know what's good for them. Just kill them. Use ice cannon. Commander, we only have 10 ice and snow cannons, and any one of them is incomparably precious. If we were to use them now, my word is order. Use ice and snow cannon. On top of a huge ice city stood thousands of guards. Following the command given by the commander, a huge ice cannon was pulled out, and fiercely fired in Long Fei's direction. Rumble. A loud sound shook the air as if it were shattering the void. Yi Jingyun's face turned cold. Oh no, big guy is coming. Nangong Yang said, You protect Long Fei, I will go block. Without waiting for her to finish speaking, Long Fei pulled Nangong Yang and said, They aren't here to deal with us. They're here to help us. Long Fei had just finished speaking. The ice giant snake behind them was blown to smithereens. The entire layer of ice trembled, causing countless pieces of ice to fall. The ice giant snake was exceptionally fierce. Nangong Yang and Yi Jingyun simply could not handle it. If not for this cannon, they would definitely die here. Boom. Nangong Yang supported Long Fei with one hand, watching the guards on top of the ice city using their arrows to truly lock onto them. Yi Jingyun immediately laughed. Everyone, it was a misunderstanding, a misunderstanding. Everyone, Don't be nervous, don't be nervous. The leader on top of the wall said lightly, put away all the ice boughs. Then, the leader looked at Long Fei who was in the sky and said, our city lord invites you. City lord has an invitation? Yi Jingyun looked at Long Fei and said, Young Master Long, you know the city lord here? No wonder you were looking for the ice and amp, Snow City. It turns out you have a friend here. Ha ha ha. I was scared half to death. Yi Jingyun heaved a sigh of relief. Nangong Yang also looked at Long Fei. Long Fei shook his head and said, this is my first time here. The three of them entered the ice and amp, Snow City. Under the guidance of a few guards, they walked to the tallest building, the palace. Along the way, they saw many people, all of them very special, as if they had seen Long Fei before. They were all smiling with respect in their eyes. Why is that? Long Fei himself did not understand. Entering the giant palace, there stood 2 rows of elders. One was a fully armored general, while the other was a manservant of Hua Li, Wen Cheng. The one on the ice and snow throne was extremely beautiful, with a sexy body and very little on her body, just that. Her eyes were ice-cold and filled with the aura of a high and mighty king. It made people not dare to have any profane thoughts. Seeing Long Fei entering the palace, the ice and amp, Snow Queen immediately stood up and said, welcome back, my king. What's going on? Long Fei was immediately stunned. Yi Jingyun also looked at Long Fei with a stupefied face, and said with a low voice, Young Master Long, is she your woman? Damn, aren't you being a little too blissful? This woman is too beautiful. Nangong Yang looked at Long Fei with a bit of jealousy and said, I didn't expect you to be so popular in the Chaos Realm, there are really so many women. Humph. I'll take care of you tonight. Long Fei was stupefied. He shook his head and said, I don't know her from the start. However, the figure of this ice and amp, Snow Queen, the unconquerable and lofty expression made the dragon have a strong desire to conquer them, and if such a woman was not the queen, she would be able to attract any man. Long Fei was a man. A very normal man, a man with a strong physical need. Since she calls you king, isn't it obvious that she's my woman? How could he let such a woman go? It was more or less the same for idiots. Furthermore, the ice and amp, Snow Queen and Ache in front of him looked a little similar. Long Fei did not refuse, and directly said, I'm back. But in his heart, he thought of another way to put it, come back? Come back here and I don't even know where the hell this is. Ice and amp, Snow Queen was excited. The Wen Chen and the generals in the hall were excited as well. Long Fei had excited them and allowed them to see a glimmer of hope. Look at how excited they are, it really is as if they are the kings that have returned. Young Master Long, aren't you being too awesome? Yi Jingyun was extremely envious. The ice maids on both sides of the palace were all extremely beautiful and charming. This was the sound of a person dying. Nangong Yang muttered, you even say you don't know him? Ice and amp, Snow Queen's face was equally excited as he said, King, we have waited until you return. In that case, the demons from the west will have no more place to stand. Wait. Long Fei immediately called out, what did you say? The demons from the west can't stand up for us? You're not asking me to go out on a mission, are you? The situation was not right. Long Fei immediately told them to stop. He didn't come here for the battle, but to clarify the matter of the goddess Tear. If possible, he had killed the ice and amp, Snow Queen on the way. This was what he wanted to do. As for going out to battle, he didn't even think about it. The survival test was limited to 3 days, and he would have to leave this place once the time was up. At this time, Long Fei did not know that the ice and snow plains exit had been sealed, and they could not get out. The ice and amp, Snow Queen said, your return is to set off for war, this is something that you should do as a king, have you forgotten about it? Everyone looked at Long Fei. Felt that if Long Fei didn't agree, they would pounce on him and tear him apart. About that, Long Fei said, I just returned, my journey has been taxing. Can I rest for the night before leaving? At night, he would first take advantage of the fact that it was a bit cheap before doing anything else. Using one night to understand the situation of the goddess Tear. However, Ice and Amp, Snow Queen did not give Long Fei any chance, and directly said, "No, you must go at once." Chapter 1429 Special Systems, Ice and Snow Parade. Chapter 1429 Special Systems, Ice and Snow Parade. He was resolute and decisive. There was no room for a comeback. He was simply insane. Did he have such a wife? She had just come back and didn't have the time to rest before she asked him to set off. After so many years, wasn't she lonely, wasn't she empty, wasn't she cold? Or did she have another man? Long Fei replied, "Can't you give me some time to rest? At least let me take a nap or something." "Ice and Amp," Snow Queen said, "the citizens of Ice and Amp, Snow City are still waiting for you to beg, for you to save the souls of the dead. Do you really want to make them suffer? So noble." Long Fei felt a little embarrassed just talking about it. Yi Jingyun said, "Young Master Long, you are a king, how can you let a woman control you? I have to show off my dominance as a man, at least until I sleep for the night." Yi Jingyun laughed sinisterly. "That's right. I'm the king here, who am I afraid of?" When he thought about this, Long Fei spoke with determination. "I am well aware of the hardships of the citizens in the city, but I have my own strategy. I will definitely exterminate the Western devils, but I need to make a good battle plan. Therefore, I decided to not set off until the day after tomorrow." Ice and Amp, Snow Queen was startled, and said, "No." Long Fei said directly, "Even if it's not possible, I still have to. Are you a king, or am I a king? Since you call me king, then my words are an order. Who would dare to defy the king's order? If you have the guts, then stand up for me." Nangong Yang warned in a low voice, "Don't be too cocky, your holy source has not recovered yet." His words had awoken the person in his dreams. Nangong Yang and Yi Jingyun's holy source had recovered, but Long Fei's had not. His holy source did not come from the pubes, but from the holy source slot. However, if he couldn't continue acting cool, he would have to hang on. Long Fei's gaze was savage, revealing the contempt of a king as he said, Who dares to disobey my orders?" They were all crushed. He did not dare to make any sound. You know, these military generals were all extremely powerful existences and could be considered NPCs within the game. Their cultivation bases were ridiculously high. The strongest belonged to the Ice and Amp, Snow Queen. She was an unparalleled existence. But in terms of intelligence, Long Fei had completely defeated them. Long Fei saw that they were silent, his heart relaxed, and he said, "I finally managed to return with great difficulty. If I did not rest, how would I fight? Do you want me to die at the hands of those demons?" "King, we have never." Ice and Amp, Snow Queen said anxiously. Long Fei did not wait for her to finish, and directly said, "Don't be so long-winded, are you hoping that I'll die outside? Do you know how powerful those demons are? Do you like being a widow?" Ice and Amp, Snow Queen could not think straight. He looked at Long Fei anxiously. Long Fei didn't even give her the chance to speak and directly asked, "What are you still doing here? Disperse. Prepare the battle strategy for tomorrow morning. You, go and get me some bath water." Long Fei said as he stared at Ice and Amp, Snow Queen. He did not give him any face at all. What he wanted was to be domineering. Mighty and mighty. However, Ice and Amp, Snow Queen did not move, nor did the civil and military officials in the hall. "You don't listen to orders, right?" Long Fei shouted loudly. At this moment, the commander who brought Long Fei into the palace spoke to the queen. The queen's face suddenly changed, and her gaze instantly went cold. She stared at Long Fei and asked, "Are you really the king of our Ice and Amp, Snow City?" His aura changed. Instantly, the temperature of the entire hall dropped. Yi Jingyun immediately took a few steps closer to Long Fei, and said softly, "Young Master Long, are you playing hip-hop?" Nangong Yang also became cautious. Long Fei pretended to be calm. "You dare to doubt me?" The queen looked at Long Fei and said, "You can't even deal with a giant ice plane snake, and you still dare to say that you are the king of the Ice and Amp, Snow City?" Long Fei shouted, "What can't be dealt with? Have I made my move?" The leader gently shook his head. Long Fei's voice rose as he said, I don't even care about helping. This kind of low-level magical beast doesn't have the qualifications to die by my hands. How dare you doubt me? Ice and Amp, Snow Queen couldn't see through Long Fei, but she firmly said, either you prove yourself today, or you go out and fight against the Western Devils. Prove yourself? How to prove it? There was no way to prove it. As for why she said he was king, Long Fei could not explain it. If he couldn't prove that there was only one ending, he would die. In the situation where there was not even a bit of holy sauce, Long Fei was simply not a match for these people. Immediately, Long Fei said firmly, I choose to go out to battle, and I will use my strength to prove it to you, to prove it to everyone in Ice and Amp, Snow City. Humph! Long Fei bellowed, with an angry look on his face. He turned around and left the great hall in big strides. Just as Long Fei walked a few steps, Ice and Amp, Snow Queen suddenly said, wait. Long Fei's palms broke out in cold sweat, and his heart sank. Damn, he would kill someone just by playing around. He could feel a strong killing intent from the chilling aura just now. The demon god in his body clearly sensed it. He wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. He wanted to go up with such a beautiful woman, but the whip was too long to reach. With a move of Ice and Amp, Snow Queen's right hand, he took out a round ball of ice and snow and lightly said, this is the heart of snow, use it to collect the departed souls of the Ice and Amp, Snow City warriors. Long Fei exhaled lightly in his heart, and thought to himself, fuck, I'm so scared. He accepted it with his right hand. And then, the system beeped in his head. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Heart of Snow, triggering the super system. What? What's going on? Super system? Long Fei was a little confused. A burst of cheerful music resounded in his mind, and the system beep also rang again. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering Ice Festival's big lottery. System, Ice Festival lottery duration, 7 days. System description. Collecting a soul of a Ice and Amp, Snow City warrior could give a lottery chance, killing a level 5 demon could also give a lottery chance. At the same time, the prizes from the Ice Snow Festival also flashed one by one in Long Fei's mind. Main City's Cannon, Seism Fruit, Dishy Celestial Call Card, the Fire Unicorn Saints, Tathagata Ancestors Protective Divine Art, the Jade Emperor's Power of 180,000 Tribulations, a mysterious gift pack. What is this? What is this? A divine spark. To think that you actually have a divine spark? Oh my god. It's about to be posted. Long Fei gulped down his saliva, a light shining in his eyes. Right now, he had no interest in Ice and Amp, Snow Queen at all. Too fierce. Gudong. Long Fei heavily swallowed his saliva, his entire body trembling in excitement. He was extremely excited, and shouted loudly, let's go. Chapter 1430 Strength, Lotus Flower. Chapter 1430 Strength, Lotus Flower. He had never been so excited before. The great lottery draw had a divine spark. How fierce was this? A divine spark in the Chaos Realm was simply heaven-defying. If he could draw it. What nonsense 9 Secret Warrior Family S, what Hell Gate S, what Bounty Gate S, what Myriad Alliance Sect, even Tower Question of Goddess could not be taken seriously. A divine spark was something that came from the ancient holy battlefield, something that not even the divinity had. Possessing it was the same as possessing a divine throne. Heh! Young Master Long, aren't we going to represent the Ice and Amp, Snow City? But why is it just the 3 of us? Yi Jingyun looked at the emptiness behind him. There was not a single person. What kind of battle was this? This was clearly exile. Nangongyang also said, you want us to fight against a group of Western demons with just the 3 of us? The walls were full of people, all waving goodbye to them. It really wasn't an expedition at all. Just as Yi Jingyun had said, they were exiled. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen also stood on the city wall. My king, I will wait for your complete victory. Long Fei grinned. Don't worry, I will definitely return victorious and will definitely ride you under my crotch. And then, Long Fei said, 3 people is 3 people. We can talk after we defeat the demons in the west. Maybe there will be a special surprise, or maybe there will be a special reward. Young Master Long, if you didn't mention adding points, I had forgotten. We only have 3 days, and now a day has already passed. We only have 2 days left. How are we going to kill all the devils? Yi Jingyun was worried about the results of the assessment. They would be leaving in 3 days. Long Fei also frowned, and said, that means that we should increase our speed even more. Ice Thunder, have you rested well? The Ice Thunder bird was summoned by Long Fei, and the 3 of them flew towards the western blood-colored sky. 3 hours later, Long Fei and the other 2 landed at the bottom of a blood-colored mountain range. The mountain was filled with a dense bloody demonic energy, and it was filled with fear. It sent chills down one's spine. Nangong Yang slightly said, are we really going in? Long Fei nodded his head. Yi Jingyun said, it's over quickly. With that, he stepped into the mountains. In less than half a second, he ran out with all his might as he shouted, run, run. Come out with this big guy. Too damn strong. The moment Yi Jingyun ran out of the blood-colored forest, a fully armored demonic bear rushed out. It was extremely savage, its claws were like blades, cutting through the air. The clothes on Yi Jingyun's back were shredded as he fled in a panic. Long Fei looked at Nangong Yang. Nangong Yang did not hesitate as he stepped forward. Boom! A heavy palm struck down. Logically speaking, with Nangong Yang's strength, even if the demonic bear did not die, it would still be severely injured. Not only was he not dead, he wasn't even injured in the slightest. On the contrary, Nangong Yang was thrown back from the impact, the vital energy and blood under his chest churned, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His defense is too strong. Nangong Yang shouted. Not only that. The demon bear was even more crazed. It suddenly stood up. It was at least 5 meters tall, like a giant. Its 2 eyes stared straight at Nangong Yang, and it suddenly roared at her, roar. The sound was as though lines of energy, clearly visible. His mind was truly about to break. Nangong Yang's bun was shaken to the point that it fell apart, unable to hold on. Yi Jingyun yelled, be careful. Long Fei also frowned, he was a little worried. He was. Without the slightest bit of holy source value, every ounce of cultivation technique, holy artifact, could not release any of their power. They could only watch. This feeling was very uncomfortable. Don't look at it. If you are attacked by it, don't get up from the ground, the bear will not attack the dead. Long Fei said softly, and as he said that, he drew closer. Nangong Yang was still his woman. He would never let his woman get hurt. A sound came from Nangong Yang's throat, and he said, Long Fei, don't come over here. Don't come over. She was not worried about herself, but Long Fei. This demon bear was extremely powerful, and with her current cultivation, she could not handle it. Unless he used the power of evil. But this power was not to be easily used. Long Fei did not listen to Nangong Yang's words. At this moment, Yi Jingyun also shouted loudly, grandson, with grandfather here, didn't you want to tear grandfather apart? Come on, come on. Dispersing the devilish bear's attention. The demon bear looked at Yi Jingyun, who was not far away. Yi Jingyun's body trembled slightly as he exclaimed in his heart, damn. Then, the demon bear suddenly unleashed its power, fiercely rushing towards Nangong Yang. Suddenly, Nangong Yang's reaction was also extremely fast, as he continuously retreated. At this moment, Long Fei also rushed out with a step, the blazing energy around his body crazily released, and released the power of the Hellfire Lotus that was in his flesh. He took a step forward. Boom. He landed heavily in front of the demonic bear and moved his fists. Boom, boom. Just like a mechanical impact, his fists moved, sank, and heavily smashed out. Fire Lotus Fist. 2 burning flames appeared on his fist. It bloomed like a lotus flower. This was Long Fei's pure strength. His physical strength did not contain the slightest bit of holy source support. Rumble. In the instant that Long Fei struck the body of the demon bear, both of Long Fei's arms were on the verge of breaking. However, The armor on the chest of the demon bear caved in, and 2 fist marks were formed from Long Fei's attack. The demon bear's body slightly trembled and he quickly took 2 steps back. Roar! He was incomparably furious, and his body erupted with a blood-colored strength stripes. The energy aura around his entire body suddenly changed, and after releasing a furious roar, he heavily rushed over with a kick. Young Master Long, be careful. Long Fei. Too arrogant, this demonic bear. Long Fei clenched his teeth, his eyes sinister as he said, "Fuck, come." Boom, boom. The blazing power burst forth once more. Long Fei's body released all the power he could muster. Every cell, every joint, every inch of muscle was releasing a crazy amount of power. At this moment, a lotus seat rose up from under Long Fei's feet. Blazing lotus. Ah! He threw his head back and roared, then took a step forward. The lotus flower beneath his feet rose again, and with every step he took, a lotus flower of fire burst out. Long Fei confronted it head-on. Straight on. I have never been afraid of anyone before. Get down. Long Fei punched out with both of his fists, completely releasing the power of the Hellfire Lotus in his body. Rumble. It directly exploded the head of the demonic bear. At the same time, the system sounded out. Ding. Chapter 1431, Pancake Possession. Chapter 1431, Pancake Possession. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Demon Bear for obtaining 230,000 experience points, 20,000 holy source points, and 1 energy values point. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a monster core. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Devil Bear Blood Vein. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Violent Bear Armor. Several notifications sounded consecutively. These were all things that Long Fei did not want. What Long Fei wanted to do was Ice and Snow Parade Lottery. According to the Heart of Ice, as long as he could kill the magical beast alive and save the soul of a brave warrior, he would get a chance at the lottery. Heart of Snow moved. Indeed. The system sounded out. Ding. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for getting a free lottery chance to draw Magic Bear. Do you want to start? Activate. Long Fei suppressed the excitement in his heart, and an interface appeared in his mind: Main City's Cannon Tower, Shaken the Fruits, the Mysterious Gift Pack, Tathagata Lord of Buddha's Protective Divine Technique, Jade Emperor. Transformation Card. A Divine Spark. A Divine Spark. Gudong. Looking at what was above, Long Fei could not control himself and continued to swallow his saliva. Begin. Long Fei moved, holding onto the spinning wheel tightly for support. He thought in his heart, "Master bless me." And then, the wheel started to spin, flashing with a rainbow-colored light. A few minutes later, the wheel slowed down and began to move. There were several times where Long Fei's eyeballs were about to pop out of their sockets. Stop, stop, stop. Don't stop, don't stop, 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 stop. Like a lunatic. Finally, the spinning wheel stopped, and the needle stopped at one point. Long Fei stared at the biggest grid in the wheel, his eyes were startled, and immediately scolded, "I'll go." Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sesame Seed. A sesame seed cake floated in Long Fei's mind. Long Fei wanted to die. There were so many good things inside. What was bad about drawing it? Yet, he drew a sesame seed cake. What was the phonetic abbreviation for pancake? SB. Long Fei's eyes became angry, and shouted, "System, are you messing with me? What Ice and Snow Parade lottery draw? You can draw a sesame seed cake? Your entire family is made up of sesame seed cakes." Long Fei was about to go crazy. To be honest, it was really difficult to kill this demonic bear. His hands felt like they were going to fly away. He thought he could find something good to compensate with, but who knew? A sesame seed cake. This wasn't the way people were organized. Nangong Yang walked over to Long Fei with a depressed look and asked, "What's wrong with you?" Yi Jingyun also asked, "Young Master Long, what's the situation? Why do you look so dejected?" "Ignore me. I want some peace and quiet." Long Fei wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Looking at the large biscuit in his mind, it was as if he had received 100,000 blows on his heart. It was extremely uncomfortable. Yi Jingyun looked at Nangong Yang and asked, "Who is Jingjing? Is this a new woman from Yong Master Long?" "Wow! Yong Master Long, is the Ice and Amp, Snow Queen's name Jingjing? Aren't you being too awesome? When did you ask for her name?" Yi Jingyun's face was full of emotion. Long Fei looked at Yi Jingyun and wished that he could explode with anger. Huff. Failure is his mother's success. Just make it. I don't believe it. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and immediately recovered his energy, and said, "Enter the mountain. Brother doesn't believe that my character is that bad." The fire had started. So many great items, yet he only managed to get a biscuit. The heck, how unlucky could he be? Yi Jingyun looked at the furious Long Fei and asked softly, "What happened to Yong Master Long?" He still looked like he wanted to be upset. Did he get dumped by that woman Jingjing? "I can't, Yong Master Long is so mighty, if I were a woman, I would definitely fall in love with him." Nangong Yang glared at Yi Jingyun fiercely, and quickly followed. 20,000 points of holy sauce recovered. This time, Long Fei could use a lot of techniques. As soon as he entered the blood-colored forest, a demonic leopard rushed out. Roar! Roar! After flying out, Long Fei's right hand moved, Destroyer, Shua. The heaven-decimating sword fell into his hand and chopped down at the demonic leopard. Catcher. The flames spread in all directions. The demon leopard was heavily crushed by Long Fei, but it did not die instantly. Without waiting for it to get up from the ground, Long Fei slashed down. Die. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Demon Leopard for obtaining 210,000 experience, 18,000 holy source points, and 1 energy values. Congratulations, player. Long Fei was excited and nervous again. Quick, quick, quick. Start the lottery. And then, Long Fei used more strength and the spinning wheel flew up. He stared at the spinning wheel without moving, and said in his heart, "Bless, bounty. At least give me something good. If old master can't do it, then I'll give my blessings to teacher little Ze." A few minutes later, the wheel stopped spinning. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting a sesame seed cake. Great sir. Even Long Fei had the impulse to go berserk. He cursed in rage. This was too unbearable. The heck? System, come out. I promise I won't beat you to death. Is there anyone who would try to cheat me like that? Long Fei looked at the giant pancake in his mind and really wanted to cry, but no tears came out. The greater the hope, the greater the disappointment. If the system was a human, he would definitely push it into the fecal pit. Which one of you is hungry? Long Fei casually asked. Yi Jingyun was startled for a moment, then said, "Yong Master Long, do you have anything to eat?" Long Fei took out the 2 large sesame seed cakes. Yi Jingyun's eyes lit up as he said excitedly, "To be able to eat hot biscuit in such a cold weather, I am truly blessed." He took the sesame seed cake and started biting on it crazily. He had a great time eating it and was still reluctant to finish it in the end. He asked, "Yong Master Long, do you still have a sesame seed cake?" Long Fei did not speak, his eyes staring straight at Yi Jingyun. Without saying a word, he glared at Yi Jingyun. 10 minutes later. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting a sesame seed cake. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting a sesame seed cake. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting a sesame seed cake. The system seemed to have gone crazy. It was always a sesame seed cake, a sesame seed cake, a sesame seed cake, or a sesame seed cake. Every single time, Long Fei held on to hope, but in the end, he was beaten black and blue, and he could not vent his anger at all. Yi Jingyun's mouth was filled with oil as he ate, making his stomach turn round. Had the urge to give him a good beating. Bring it on. Just come and make the pancakes more violent. Long Fei's suffering was unbearable. He was practically being possessed by a pancake. Once again, the system beep rang out. Long Fei no longer held any hope. Chapter 1432, Berserk Beginning. Chapter 1432, Berserk Beginning. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting a sesame seed cake. Long Fei let out a bitter laugh. Revelation of ice and snow, your sister. He crazily cursed. He was played with 100 times. Most people would go crazy if they heard it. Long Fei's blow had penetrated every inch of his body. He looked as if he was about to die. He really couldn't take it anymore, and his entire body was on the verge of collapse. There was clearly something good, but it just couldn't be pulled. How bad was his luck? He really wanted to cut off his hand. However, just as Long Fei was about to lose all hope, the system sounded out once again. Ding. System notification. Player has consecutively drawn 100 sesame seed cakes, receiving a special reward from the system. Heh. Long Fei's eyes darkened. Does the heavens want to open their eyes? Are we really going to open our eyes? The system's rewards would not be bad. He felt that the heavens were about to open his eyes, and seeing him in such pain would definitely make him happy for a while. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sesame Terminator. An incomparably large sesame seed cake appeared in Long Fei's mind. It was more than 10 times bigger than the one in the past. Long Fei sat on the ground, his mind filled with fear. Right now, he didn't want to do anything at all. He only wanted to be alone and calm, because he was beginning to doubt life. He had nothing to live for. Heaven will close a door for you, don't worry, be discouraged, because he will also close one of your remaining windows, leaving you in darkness, eternal hope. At this moment, Long Fei was really beaten to the point that he couldn't take care of himself by this scones. He had never seen something like this before. What was this called? He fell into the pit and couldn't get up. Did I scold the system too harshly? Long Fei muttered. And Nangong Yang, who were at the side, looked at Long Fei, who was curled up in a corner alone, and did not know what had happened. What do you mean? How could he say that? That he had a lottery system in his body, which allowed him to pull out scones 100 times in a row? If word of this got out, people would definitely laugh themselves to death. Looking at the incomparably huge sesame seed cake in his mind, Long Fei let out a long breath, and said, "Take a deep breath, take a deep breath. The world is so beautiful, yet I am so impatient. I haven't tried the taste of the sesame seed cake yet. Taste it." As they spoke, Long Fei took out a huge sesame seed cake and bit onto it. This was the first time Long Fei had eaten a sesame seed cake. He hadn't eaten a single one of the 100 times he had drawn before. He didn't believe that his luck was good and was busy drawing the lottery to kill the magical beasts. Eating it in one gulp. Ding. System notification. Spiritual Academy value plus 10,000 points. Huh. Long Fei was slightly taken aback. He looked at the biscuit in his hand and muttered, "Increase holy sauce." He took another bite. Ding. System notification. Spiritual Academy value plus 10,000 points. Holy T. As expected, it's an increase in holy sauce. Long Fei was a little excited. After all, it was not a simple sesame seed cake. The value of the Spiritual Academy had not increased much after half a day of killing Long Fei. In addition to the consumption of his cultivation technique, his current value of the Spiritual Academy was only around 50,000 points, which was simply not enough. However, if he were to add up the 1 million Spiritual Academy points, then Long Fei heavily shouted in his heart, and muttered, "Scatter seeds which become solidars, an army of 100,000, will wipe out this mountain. This old one will not believe it. I'll eat. I'll eat. I'll eat." Long Fei ruthlessly ate the super big sesame seed cake and said, "I won't believe it. Swallow the last of the scones into your stomach." The holy sauce S increased to 1 million points. Moreover, a strange scene occurred. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for using Sesame Rice Terminator and erasing the sesame rice in the Ice and Snow Parade lottery. On the wheel, the scones disappeared. The 3 scones disappeared. Replacing it was the Airborne Knight, Heaven Fairyland, Hell Secret World. For these 3 things. Ha ha ha. Long Fei immediately laughed out loud in excitement. "Sesame seed cake, go ahead. I, your father, will definitely eat another half a scone in my life, ha ha ha. Cake Terminator. So that's what you mean. Long Fei was too excited to the point that he wanted to cry. Without the biscuit, it was as if he had obtained the entire world. The mental shadow of the scones was too much for him. Young Master Long, are you alright? Long Fei, what's wrong with you? All of a sudden, he felt depressed and excited. He didn't understand what was going on at all. Nangong Yang and Yi Jingyun were both dumbstruck. Long Fei stood up and laughed excitedly. It's fine, I'm going to be rich soon. Just watch. And then, Long Fei said, now, follow me through the bloody mountain. As soon as he finished, Long Fei's body released his qi, and released his own blood essence. The smell of blood pervaded, causing the entire forest to become restless. Yi Jingyun said suddenly, Young Master Long, you have attracted all the beasts over this time. So what if I'm heartbroken? We don't want you in serenity. Don't we still have us? Young Master Long, you can't be this self-abusing. To be able to release the strength of his blood essence in such a place, that was simply courting death. Long Fei grinned, just watch, I'm going up. The heavens. Yi Jingyun was even more shocked. Sis Yang, Young Master Long's brain is abnormal, the shock of his heartbreak is too great. You have to persuade him, he even wants to go up to the sky. Nangong Yang's face was also full of confusion as he said, Long Fei, calm down. There's nothing that you can't get through. The two of them thought that Long Fei had gone crazy. Only a madman would try to attract the attention of a beast. The power of one of these beasts was comparable to an Earth Emperor powerhouse. One would not be scary, but if there were tens of thousands of them, the three of them would not be able to resist it. Long Fei did not explain. He ran out crazily and roared, come, everyone come, ha ha ha. As many as there are. Long Fei laughed loudly. Savage to the extreme. All the beasts in the forest were awakened by Long Fei. They released low roars, and crazily chased after Long Fei, the disturbance in the forest becoming more and more intense. The roars never stopped. The entire mountain range became restless. Yi Jingyun's face was pale as he said, we're finished, we're doomed, we're completely doomed. We're really going to die here this time. Nangong Yang did not speak, and followed Long Fei instead. No matter how crazy Long Fei was, no matter what happened to him, she would accompany him. She had missed a chance, she did not want to miss a second chance. Bring it on. Suddenly, Long Fei stopped, the surroundings were densely packed with beasts. We're rich, I'm going to pose. Chapter 1433 Never felt so good. Chapter 1433 Never felt so good. The mountains and plains were filled with magical beasts. All of their eyes were staring at Long Fei. Yi Jingyun protected Long Fei on the left, Nangong Yang protected the right, and protected Long Fei. Long Fei was completely mad. Bring it on. Long Fei roared. Yi Jingyun frowned. Without waiting for him to speak, Long Fei suddenly leaped up with a step and heavily rushed forward. At this moment, the idea moved, evil spring, come out. The healing spring descended and quietly released its healing power. It was also at this moment. Fire unicorn, out. Sky swallowing rat, out. Yuan Yang big beast, out. Black flame, come out. Ferocious bosses rushed out of Long Fei's war pet space and Hell's 18th floor one after another. They charged into the group of demon beasts like tigers entering a flock of sheep. However, they were still too few. It was far from enough to allow him to reap the fruits of his madness in an instant. However, the corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted, and 100,000 holy sauce disappeared. He shouted in a deep voice, scatter seeds which become solidars, come out. The value of the holy sauce flew in all directions, and the moment each beam of light landed on the ground. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Magic weapon appeared out of nowhere on the ground. Shen Gonglei pays his respect to the Lord. The spirit will appear. It was Shen Gongju. Powerhouse in the middle of nowhere. Long Fei laughed excitedly. Eat all of these for me. Yes, sir. Shen Gong Bao bellowed lightly, and the idea moved. Magic weapon, listen up, kill, kill. 100,000 magic weapon charged into the group of demonic beasts like a mad beast, instantly blocking the demonic beast army. This was simply too domineering. At the same time, no matter how strong the demonic beasts were, they were no match for the magic weapon. However, with the existence of Healing Spring, these magic weapon would not die. Oh my god! An army of 100,000 suddenly appeared. Young Master Long, you, where did you get all these bosses? Yi Jingyun's face was filled with astonishment. He had thought that he was going to die. However, the situation had suddenly changed. His little heart couldn't adapt to it at all. Nangong Yang looked at Long Fei and faintly smiled. Long Fei was getting more and more mysterious, and she was getting more and more confused. This was even better, because the evil god would never know Long Fei's full strength. Long Fei giggled, and said, "Fierce." Yi Jingyun said, "Fierce, able to make a complete mess of things." Long Fei laughed. "This is just the beginning." Ding, ding, ding. The system's notification sound rang out crazily. Long Fei's experience points S continued to increase, his holy source S continued to increase, and his energy values continued to increase as well. What he cared about now was the ice and snow parade. Start the lottery. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Great Recovery Pill. Do you want to use it? Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Heavenly King's Treasure Sword. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Underworld King's Pagoda. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sea Heaven Divine Sword. The sound of the lottery draw prompts rang out incessantly. Without the sesame seed cake, the things that Long Fei's luck would have been able to pull out would always be good. He hadn't drawn what he wanted yet. What he wanted was a divine spark. Again. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Arcane Damage Call card. The Arcanum of the Avenger Alliance. Awesome. Continue. I want a divine spark. A divine spark. Long Fei did not stop. 100,000 magic weapon continued to be killed and the number of times they drew continued to increase. Long Fei was grinning from ear to ear. It feels so good. Continue. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Thunder God Sword. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Thunder God's Wings. Would you like to use it? Ding. He had never felt so good before. Never. Lottery draw. What was a lottery draw for the Ice and Snow Carnival? This was it. Every time they killed a magical beast, they would get a big chance at the lottery. The most useless things were all 9th grade Heaven Stage spiritual treasures, and most of them were Holy Artifact S perfect. With these Holy Artifact S, their cultivation will definitely rise another level, and might even be one step closer to the teleportation gate of a level 10 guild. Luo Shi, Leopard Girl, Qianqian, all of you wait here, it won't be long before I bring you all to Chaos Realm. Long Fei was wild with excitement as he continued to draw. This feeling, this amazing rhythm. Ding. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for drawing Heavenly Energy Blood Vein and absorbing its energy. Absorb. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently level 28. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for drawing lava. Do you wish to fuse it? Fuse. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei. The blood vein continued to swallow. Long Fei had completely fused all of the fire attribute energy. The sun god's body needed to absorb all sorts of strong yang energy to stimulate the body, making it stronger. It was improving like crazy. Half an hour later, Long Fei's space ring was full. It was no longer able to hold anything. It was also at this time that all the beasts in the forest were killed. Long Fei's level also broke through from Chen stage level 4 to level 5. He was only 5 levels away from becoming a paragon. Huff. So cool. They feel so good. Long Fei was incomparably satisfied as he sat on the ground with a satisfied expression. Looking at the mountain of spirit treasures inside the space ring, Long Fei could not help but become excited, absorb all of the ancient spiritual treasure. Ding, ding, ding. A series of system beep sounds rang out. A few minutes later. Ding. The energy has been filled up. The golden cudgel energy has been filled up to the 60th floor. Who? Damn, the 60th level is not full yet. It seems that I really need to fill up the 100th level. Long Fei muttered. Golden cudgel second transformation, what was its limit? Long Fei still didn't know. Before the 60th level was filled up, there was only one possibility. The 100th level should be its limit and it would be able to fully unleash the power of the second level. What could it be? Long Fei was really looking forward to it. Following that, Long Fei held out his long, thin, blue sword sheath. The red sword's divine sword was passed to Nangong Yang. The last time your sword was destroyed by Yi Tiancheng, this sword should be very suitable for you. There's more. Young Master Yi, this is yours. If you follow me and mess around, how can you do it without a proper weapon? The two of them were startled as they received the weapons. He was completely shocked. It was also at this time. A loud sound rang out from the depths of the bloody mountain range. A ray of blood-red light shot up into the sky, and a mix of forces crazily exploded outwards. The demon god of Long Fei's body stirred, both his eyes staring angrily. There's a boss. Chapter 1434, Lousy Want a Divine Spark. Chapter 1434, Lousy Want a Divine Spark. With a loud noise, the demonic god suddenly woke up. No doubt about it. This was a super boss. The corner of Long Fei's mouth twitched, and he said, "This tempo is more like it. It would not be normal if there was no boss after killing so many magical beasts." Moreover, Long Fei's hands were about to cramp from the lottery, but he did not manage to get any heavenly treasures. This might have something to do with the level of the beasts, if it was a boss. A divine spark. Maybe. It was a divine spark. Long Fei was immediately overjoyed as he said, "The two of you stay here, I'll be right back." Finished. Long Fei ran out. Ice thunder. Shua. The ice thunder bird rushed out, and Long Fei stood on it, quickly flying towards the depths of the mountain range. Ice and Amp, Snow City. The western devil flames are getting more and more intense. I wonder if our king can hold on. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen frowned, and said worriedly. Queen, if he is our king, he will definitely be able to block it. Don't worry. A maid spoke up. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen looked to the west and gently exhaled, saying, I hope he will return victoriously. Suddenly, on her crown, a drop of blue crystal shone with a strange light. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen was slightly shocked as he muttered to himself in a low voice, Goddess's tears? What does that mean? The blue crystal on the crown looked exactly the same as Long Fei's goddess tear, almost exactly the same. At this time, it suddenly received a call from a certain power, and a ray of light shone out. It was the first time this had happened to her. Next, Ice and Amp, Snow Queen quickly entered an underground secret room and went through a long flight of stairs. It took him over an hour to reach the place. In the basement, blue light flashed. In the middle of the basement stood a giant staff of angels. The top of the staff was like an eye, and the blue eyes were like a giant blue gem, flickering with blue light. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen knelt on the ground and chanted, Lord Goddess, please give me guidance. A blue light flashed from the angel's staff and shone on the queen's body. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen was like a god that possessed her body, quietly feeling everything. An image appeared in her mind. Long Fei was bathed in blood trying to kill, slaying the evil dragon, exterminating the giant demons, Invincible. Beneath his feet were white bones, the skulls of thousands of people. Beneath the skull was a river of blood. Blood flowed like a river. 9 days. 9 lands under his feet. This scene caused Ice and Amp, Snow Queen's body to tremble uncontrollably. Never been so afraid. He had never been this afraid even when facing the demons of the West. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen said, Lord Goddess, he is a demon, a super demon. Why are you guiding me this way? I don't understand. In the picture, Long Fei was a demon. Although he was able to kill the demons and exterminate the giant demons, the bones beneath his feet were enough to explain everything. The blue light on the angel's staff disappeared. The light enveloping the ice and amp, Snow Queen slowly dimmed, and did not give any further hints. Ice and amp, Snow Queen kneeled on the ground and begged unceasingly, but nothing strange happened to the angel staff, and the blue gem on the crown also didn't emit any more light. She knelt on the ground and thought for a long time. The scene was not in the western mountains, but in a different place. Where could it be? Was he a demon? A hero? Ice and amp, Snow Queen's heart was in a mess. He didn't understand what the goddess's guidance images were hiding. How do you want to select? Rumble. Rumble. In the valley. Blood-red light shot up into the sky, and streams of thick devil fire surged out, forming a powerful force that spread out. Boom. With an explosion, a huge figure rushed out from the depths of the canyon. Looking at Long Fei, who was on top of the ice thunderbird, he shouted, "Die." The monstrous pressure attacked heavily. Long Fei's mind stirred. As soon as the heaven-decimating sword fell, the holy source surged, and the entire sky was set ablaze. With a heavy stomp, it flew up, clashing head-on. A huge fist came crashing down from the sky. The fire heaven-decimating slash in Long Fei's hand. "Break for me, Shua." Long Fei shouted. The massive giant demon's eyes sank. "No matter who you are, if you come to my territory you will only have one ending, die." He was covered in moving corpses. These people. He should be one of the Ice and Amp, Snow City's undead warriors. In other words, if this giant demon was killed and these undead warriors were rescued, would there be a large number of raves? Heh. Long Fei laughed, and said, "No matter who you are, in any case. Your father has decided on you. Humph. With just you. You insignificant human, in my eyes you are nothing more than a lowly ant. This world belongs to me, and I am the paragon." The giant demon's voice was gloomy. The vibration caused Long Fei's eardrums to hurt. It was extremely uncomfortable. So powerful. "I like it." Long Fei started to laugh excitedly. He liked the stronger the boss, because the stronger it was, the fiercer its drops would be. This Ice and Amp, Snow City should be another level of secret world. Even the people from the Tower Question of God did not know. This was the ultimate test of survival, but who would have thought that there would be another secret world hidden under this ice and snow plain? Moreover, this place was very special. When the giant demon saw Long Fei's excited expression, he felt extremely displeased. Any human would tremble in fear when they saw him, but Long Fei was actually very excited. He was unhappy. Boom. The demonic flames burned the sky. The giant demon roared and said, "Devil's flames burn the sky, burn everything, die, die." Heh. Long Fei grinned and said, "Enchantment. Buzz. Exhaustion of 100,000 points. Long Fei's body instantly transformed into a magic body. Furthermore, following the change in the aura of the devil god, his body became incomparably huge, far more powerful than that of the giant demons. The 9 tribulations sword in his hand moved, pointing at the giant demon. He shouted loudly, "This little devil dares to be so impudent in front of real face? You're courting death." The might of the demonic god couldn't be shaken. The aura of the demon god was capable of crushing everything. The complete god's suffering force combined with the god's bone taboo, the strength of the god's steelstone had gone through a round of tempering and production of magic body. He was a supreme existence in front of any magic tribe. As the giant demon saw the demon god, he began to tremble, and fear began to emit from his bones. In that instant, he also became furious. "You can't possibly be a demon god. You are just a puppet created by a human." The demon god's 2 eyes opened wide, shouting out, "You're courting death." The 9 tribulations sword pierced through the void and absorbed all of the demonic flames in the sky. Then, it slashed down ferociously. The temper of the demonic god. Very irritable. They wanted to kill each other. However, in his heart, Long Fei was extremely excited, and said, "Explode for me. Your father wants a divine spark." Chapter 1435 Light Speed Sword. Chapter 1435 Light Speed Sword. The demon god of the 9 tribulations sword fell heavily. Boundless demonic gods' killing intent engulfed the entire giant demon, forming strong gusts of killing. The giant demon screamed crazily. He didn't have any strength to resist. To deal with the magic tribe, the demonic god was even more powerful. He had brought the demonic god's might with him, so very few people could withstand it. Moreover, the devil god that Long Fei had bewitched was completely different from ordinary demons. This body was condensed using many unimaginable powers. The gash on the head of the troll began to drop rapidly. In the blink of an eye, his health fell to 0. The system's notification immediately sounded out. Long Fei's heart stirred, and he released the striking energy value he had just accumulated. 3-rate rampage, activate. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Blood Giant Devil for obtaining 50,000 experience, 50,000 holy source points, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Blood Fang. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Holy Artifact Demon Scythe. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. The system beep sounded continuously. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei, Demon God for continuous upgrades. Current level, 23. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for triggering 3-rate rampage. Please select the Domain Treasure Series, Water God Treasure Series, Heaven Series, Anime Series, Battle Mecha Series. A series of choices appeared in his mind. Long Fei glanced at it for a bit. I'll give you one more chance, don't get any more fishing rods out, and choose the Universe's Unknown series. The idea moved, and it instantly sounded. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Light Speed Sword. Do you wish to cultivate it? Ha ha ha. When Long Fei heard the 4 words Light Speed Sword, he immediately started laughing out loud. Finally a good thing. This is great. Light Speed Sword, how powerful is this? Cultivate. There was an extra skill in the skill bar. Skill path, beam grade, unknown in the universe attributes, sword art of lightning, light speed shuttle. All the martial arts in the world were invincible. Only speed was unbreakable. Light speed sword, what was needed was speed. This kind of sword technique was dazzling, so fast that people could not see it clearly. If they could not even see it clearly, how could they resist it? This berserk feels great, ha ha ha. Long Fei was extremely excited as he looked at the properties of the light speed sword. With the Heaven Decimating Sword, he lacked a good set of sword technique. The Heaven Decimating Flame combined with the Light Speed Sword, just 2 words, absolutely match. At this time, the giant blood-colored demon fell down. The brave warrior on its body was still hovering in the air. Long Fei reacted very quickly. These are all things that can make the Ice and Snow Gala's lottery draw. How can they be wasted? Sky swallowing rat. Can you hurry up? Aren't you being too slow? Eat, eat. A big wave is coming. Long Fei urged. As his space ring could not even hold it anymore, he could only allow it to devour him as soon as possible. Speaking of sky swallowing rat, he felt like it was the new year. It felt great. As he crazily devoured the energy within his body, his cultivation base also rapidly increased. Long Fei took out the Heart of Snow, and said, "Come, let's begin our final round of craziness." As the dead soul was absorbed into the system, a system notification rang out. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the free lottery draw for absorbing Ice and Snow Death Spirit. Do you want to start the lottery? Yes, sir. The wheel appeared in front of Long Fei. Every time it appeared, the things on it would be different, but there were a few things that did not change. For example, the mysterious gift pack. For example, Heaven Fairyland, Secret World of Hell. For example, Mystery was the most powerful object, a divine spark. These things have always existed. However, Long Fei had never hit a spot on his hand before. The wheel began to spin again. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for obtaining the Chilean Sacred Blood and releasing the fusion. Heh! Long Fei was startled. He immediately controlled the Devourer's vein and asked, "Fire Unicorn, is the Chilean Sacred Blood useful for you?" The Fire Unicorn nodded like a chick pecking rice. Yes, yes, yes. My Chilean blood vein is not pure. If I can fuse with the Chilean Sacred Blood, I can quickly level up, Without waiting for him to finish speaking, Long Fei immediately said, "This is for you." The fire unicorn was moved to tears, and said, "Thank you, Master, thank you, Master." Qilin sacred blood. The power of the Qilin ancestor's blood could allow him to unleash the strongest power of a Qilin blood vein. It could be said that with the blood of the Qilin, he would be able to reach the peak of the Qilin clan. How could he not be moved? Be it humans or beasts, both wanted to become stronger. After the Qilin sacred blood was devoured by the fire unicorn, his body was covered in red light and the fire unicorn was completely focused on cultivation. This time isn't bad. Long Fei was slightly happy. He was happy that his brother could become stronger. Again, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. Ding, ding. There were many ice and snow spirits that died, and they were crazily being sucked into Long Fei's heart of ice and snow. At the same time, Long Fei also drew. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Ace Call card. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sage Huang Long's possession strength. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Nightmare Call card. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Immortal Trapping Rope. Ding. He was so irritable that there was nothing left to play around with. This tempo was simply too refreshing. When Long Fei killed the beasts, most of the things he obtained were holy artifacts, armors, and the like. This time, most of the things he obtained were call card, or some sort of attaching force. It was so satisfying that he didn't want it. Ha ha ha. I'm rich, I'm rich. I'm rich this time. Long Fei was ecstatic, and kept on drawing prizes. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Chang'e call card. Sister Chang'e is here, can you even slap her? Long Fei's mind became evil. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Miss Mo call card. It's another girl, and it was a female gun. Wow, Lousy is going to slap him. Long Fei laughed sinisterly. There were more and more call cards and the like. It didn't matter if they could be summoned, but even if they could, they would only be able to fight for 5 minutes. What could he do at this time? Moreover, even if they exchanged many loyalty stone and fused them into permanent cards, where would they put them? This was a difficult problem. If only there was a special place for them. I don't care. It's time for the lottery draw. Half an hour later. Seeing that there were still 3 lottery draws left, Long Fei's heart was moved. I still haven't gotten my divine spark, I've got 3 last chances. Chapter 1436 Hell, Heavenly Court. Chapter 1436 Hell, Heavenly Court. The divine spark was like the heaven gate at the top of a slot machine. The chances were too small. His hand was about to get swollen, but he still did not hit the target. It had to be said that Long Fei's character was not that good. Last 3 chances. Long Fei let out a heavy breath. Phew. Demacia. Activate. Long Fei fiercely pulled out his hand and the spinning wheel started to spin quickly, going through each ring one by one. Long Fei stared at the column with his eyes fixated on the divine spark, and chanted an incantation in his heart. Divine spark, I love you, just like a mouse loves rice. Divine spark, I miss you. Seeing the pointer turn away, Long Fei immediately said like a frosted eggplant, "Your sister, can you still play properly?" Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for reaching the secret world of Hell. Hell secret world. Long Fei was startled, and asked, "What is that?" Initially, when he ate the super big sesame seed cakes, he exchanged for a few things, of which this secret world of Hell was one. However, Long Fei had never been able to draw it. The sudden draw made Long Fei shudder, and he immediately checked the attributes of the secret world of Hell. Item: Secret World of Hell attribute, Spatial Class Grade. Description: This secret world is the evil secret world. It provides training for the evil demons. Once activated, they will follow the player around, and if there is any external power, the evil demon can be placed inside to cultivate. Description 2. This secret world has a lifespan of 1 million years. What? Long Fei was a little confused. System: Why don't you explain it to me? What kind of evil demon provides this training secret world? Could it be that this secret world is a secret training ground? Instead of the infernal realm, you're giving me an leveled up instance dungeon secret world? Ding. System notification. The Hell secret world is a training ground. Players can use the external strength of the demonic attribute, such as call card, possession power, etc. As long as it is demonic attribute, they can be placed in the Hell secret world to cultivate, but the prerequisite is that they have to have permanent access to it. Ha ha ha. Hearing the system's explanation, Long Fei laughed out loud. Does that mean I can create a demon army now? That's not right. It should be an army of aliens. Zhon Wushuang, you are awesome, right? Have you met Chang'e? Have you met Miss Misfortune? Have you seen an ancient giant dragon? I just want to ask, who else is there? Long Fei was excited. With this hellhole training ground, what was there for him to worry about? Long Fei did not receive many body transformation cards in his drawer this time, he only got a few hundred of them. These hundreds of videos were all amazing figures in the legends. They were all godlike existences. You want to cause trouble? They could turn the sky upside down. Furthermore, Long Fei's heart became even more evil. If we can make them permanent, then Chang'e, Sis Lucky, and those girls that want to kill me, wouldn't they? At this moment, Long Fei's brain was all evil. In the past, he only thought that it would be great if he could pull out the characters in the game and give them a good beating, but now, he was afraid that it wouldn't be long before he could achieve it. This was what it felt like. Hell Secret World is also known as the Hell Base. It can help evil call card level up. In the future, they will definitely become a berserk army. Long Fei became excited, looked at the last two chances, and the idea moved. Activate. Demasha. Although the secret worlds of hell are good, but what Long Fei wanted the most was still a divine spark. A divine spark could defy the heavens and change fate. It could do whatever it wanted in Chaos Realm. Divine spark, I love you like a mouse loves rice. Divine sparks, give us some face, give us a chance. Give me a chance, I'll allow you to soar into the heavens. The needle once more turned the divine spark. Long Fei sighed. You really want to die for your divine spark, don't you? Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Heaven Fairyland. What kind of luck is that? What is Heaven Fairyland? Long Fei trembled slightly. Looking at it, the attribute of the Heaven Fairyland was similar to the secret worlds of hell. The Hell secret world was of the darkness element, while the Heaven Fairyland was of the light faction. Darkness, light. It was either darkness or light. In other words, no matter what kind of call card Long Fei picked, he could enter the secret world to cultivate, and he could also. Training in these two secret bases can raise one's speed by several times. The infernal realm has arrived. The heavenly court has one now as well. Brother Godspark, you are the only one left. Long Fei rubbed his hands together. This was his last chance. If he did not hit, then he would lose this chance. He had drawn so many good things, and they were all pretty good. However, if he wanted to absolutely crush Zhon Wushuang, then he would have to draw this divine spark. Otherwise, it would still be impossible to do. After all, how strong was Zhon Wushuang's cultivation, that he was a man who possessed a main artifact? Long Fei didn't know at all that if he could obtain this divine spark. None of that was a problem. This is my last chance. Long Fei moved. Come. The wheel started to spin frantically. Long Fei closed his eyes tightly, not daring to look at it. He thought to himself, Brother Shenji, please give me some face. You have to make me feel good about it. The wheel slowly turned, and Long Fei did not look, but quietly listened. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for getting the god. Hearing the word god, Long Fei instantly became excited. He fiercely opened his eyes and looked at the place the needle on the wheel was pointing at, and immediately kicked it. I'll go. With a single kick, he sent the wheel flying. The word god was not followed by GE, but the word yuan. What is divine energy? Can you give me some face? Long Fei was really unhappy. One thought of hell, one thought of heaven, now. He fell straight into the dark abyss. What bullsh asterisk T God essence? Long Fei didn't even take a glance. The blow was too great. He had no interest in checking its stats. His heart felt like it had suffered 1,000,000 hits and had been hit thousands of times, but he still hadn't drawn his divine spark. This luck. He was about to chop off his hand. However, if Long Fei had seen the properties of the divine yuan, he wouldn't have ended up like this. Because it was far, far more powerful than a divine spark. There was no way for a divine spark to be compared to a divine origin realm cultivator. Divine origin, the source of power which sovereigns possessed. Young Master Long, we've finally found you. Yi Jingyun ran over while gasping for breath. Seeing Long Fei sitting on the ground with a displeased expression on his face, he could not help but ask, what happened? Nangong Yang looked at his surroundings and said, that demonic flame has disappeared. Long Fei said indifferently, I killed him. Yi Jingyun and Nangong Yang looked at Long Fei in astonishment, and could not recover from their shock for a long time. Finally, Yi Jingyun said, Young Master Long, then should we return now? Long Fei took a glance at the space ringes that were filled to the brim, then turned and thought of the heavenly court and hellbase, and said, wait. Chapter 1437, Crazy Fusion. Chapter 1437, Crazy Fusion. There were too many things. Long Fei had wanted to give all of them to Li Yuanba and the others. However, they all had their own special attributes of power, so none of these things were suitable for them. As for the Beastmen Warrior S and disciples of the Kunlun Sect S, they only had enough of the holy artifact that Long Fei had created last time. These things had to be disposed of. Moreover, since he had drawn Hell, the two main bases of the Heavenly Court, he couldn't afford to waste it. Long Fei opened up the exchange hall system, and placed an item on top of it, exchange point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 5,000 points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100,000 points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. He didn't have many reservations after exchanging them one by one. As for Sky Swallowing Rat, he had a round stomach and could not eat anymore. His level was currently too low, and he could not absorb too much food. Just the food in his stomach was enough for him to level up several times, which would take him several months. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 30,000 points. The exchange lasted for a whole hour. Long Fei exchanged everything he could. There were some things that could not be exchanged, such as divine energy. It was not because it could not be exchanged, but because it could not be exchanged with the current level of the merchant shop system, is beyond its range. The number of points that could be exchanged was countless, but the divine energy was even more formidable than his, so he was unable to directly exchange it. However, Long Fei still did not look at it, nor did he examine its attributes. Because it had truly hurt Long Fei. After an hour of exchanging, Long Fei looked at the points he had. Damn, a total of 23 billion points, how awesome. Looking at that long string of zeros, Long Fei's blood began to boil. However, when Long Fei turned around and looked at the things that he had exchanged for, he had to double his points to buy them. System, aren't you from Africa? Isn't it too dark? Long Fei muttered as he switched to the trading system. Looking at the loyalty stone, he slowly exhaled and said, exchange. Ding. Points, 18 million. Ding. Points, 18 million. Ding. Points, 18 million. A single loyalty stone cost 180 million points. Long Fei thought that his worth of 23 billion points was already enough. After exchanging for 10 loyalty stone in a row, he looked like he was in a bad mood. This is too darned. Only the loyalty stone could make these cards that had a time limit become permanent, and enter the heavenly court or hell base. Loyalty stone could only be obtained by the system reward or by trading it in a commercial city. Long Fei had no other choice but to gather up his courage and exchange, my points, my money, Aya. After exchanging all his points for loyalty stone, He only had a few tens of millions of points left. Huff. Long Fei exhaled lightly as he thought in his heart, the loyalty stone have been completely exchanged, and now it's time to rely on luck again. The idea moved. Long Fei took out a piece of call card, and on the other side was a piece of loyalty stone. Ding. Fusion successful. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Sage Huanglong permanent call card. He succeeded on the first step. Beat the iron while it's hot. Long Fei continuously fused with it. Fusion had successes and failures as well. Because it was a level 1 fusion, its success rate was relatively high, and the 127 loyalty stone had succeeded. In other words, Long Fei now had 100 permanent call card. Including Red Hair, including Chang'e, including Lady Misfortune. All of these were either distributed to the Heavenly Court or to the Underworld base for cultivation. This was Long Fei's other trump card. After all this had been arranged, Long Fei had doubts in his heart, and thought to himself, if these aliens can enter the training grounds, where is that person? Can I go in? I'll give it a try. Then, Long Fei summoned the Hell Secret World. The idea moved, and said, Evil Spring, go into Hell and take a look. Following Long Fei's control, the Evil Spring was absorbed by the Hell Secret World. Ding. The attributes are incorrect. We are unable to enter. Heh. Incorrect attributes. Evil Spring, are you still from Light Faction? Long Fei muttered, and then turned to open the Heaven Fairyland, just as expected. The Evil Spring entered the Heavenly Court. The Evil Spring was also extremely excited. Master, the chi is too dense here. I feel my whole body is hot, I feel. I'm going to burn. Boom. A stream of water sprayed out. Buzz. In that moment, the Evil Spring released an incomparably comfortable moan, and said, Master, I've broken through. Damn. It worked. Long Fei thought, if that's the case, then what about Li Yuanba and the others? Could they also enter the training grounds? If they could, then my God's martial sect. Hee hee. At this moment, Long Fei was incomparably excited. In the Heavenly Court and the Infernal Realm, the two major training bases were filled with dense spiritual chi of heaven and earth, which was several times more than the ones outside. What's more, it was more important. Long Fei could bring all of them with him. God's martial sect will also disappear just like that, and can also descend from heaven to earth, appearing right in front of you in the blink of an eye. These two secret worlds had a duration of 1 million years, so Long Fei didn't have to worry about anything during this period of time. If it was really as Long Fei had expected, that was even more amazing than guild teleportation. He no longer had to worry about the plane of separation, and was restricted by the laws to meet again. Then, Long Fei placed all of the fire unicorns into the heaven and said, cultivate well for me. On the other hand, the Yuan Yang Big Beast and Black Flame entered the Hell's base. After doing all this, Long Fei suddenly stood up and asked, how much time do we have left before 3 days of Secret World survival time? Yi Jingyun said, 3 days have already passed. I don't know why we haven't teleported out. Could something have happened there? It didn't teleport out. Long Fei's heart tightened, as he faintly felt that something had happened. Nangong Yang slightly said, logically speaking, we would automatically teleport back when it's time. After all, ice and snow plane can quickly suck all the holy source from our pubes, so if we don't teleport out, there's no way for us to find the exit. Yi Jingyun said, could it be because we are here? Will we be forgotten? Long Fei also thought of this point and muttered, could it really be because we are in another secret world? Long Fei was slightly taken aback, but immediately said, don't worry about that for now. Return to Ice and Amp, Snow City first. Thinking about Ice and Amp, Snow Queen's sexy figure, Long Fei became evil. I'll tell you after. Chapter 1438, Husband Sleeping Wife. Chapter 1438, Husband Sleeping Wife in Another Place. Let us out. Hurry up and let us out. Why? Why is this happening? On the ice and snow plain, dozens of disciples were frozen into ice statues. The 3 days of extreme survival testing had already passed, but none of them had been teleported out. He had clearly said that he would be teleported when the time came, but now, they were so cold that they couldn't even stand it. He shouted weakly. However, their voices could not be heard by anyone other than themselves. Obviously, with the exit of the secret world destroyed, the power that was sent out was blocked. There was no special exit that they could stay in forever. In other words, they were abandoned. Let me out. I don't want to take the examination anymore. Can't I just give up on the examination? It's so cold. We're going to be so cold. Let us out. The voice was so weak and pale. No one cared if they lived or died. Tower question of God Assessment Board. The position of manager of the Yiseng assessment was taken away, but he did not give up on making representations, and continued to search for people, search for connections, but it was completely useless. Not a single elder bothered with him. Wang Shusha disappeared. The third elder was sent out. The entire Tower question of God seemed to have forgotten that there was a group of examinees within the Ice-Snow secret world. All of this was to deal with Long Fei, to let him have a better breakthrough. As long as Zhong Wushuang could clear the 100 levels of Tower question of God, he would be able to enter the ancient holy battlefield. He would be able to unleash an extremely powerful force that would bring honor and glory to their Chaos Realms Tower question of God, as well as the rewards of a god. As for sacrificing these examinees, in order to accomplish great things, there must be sacrifices. Not to mention, not a single one of these examinees had the qualifications to compete with Zhong Wushuang. Whether it was in terms of talent or potential, all of them were incomparable to Zhong Wushuang. Beast City. The sky was lit up by the fire of the beacons, and the flames in the city were everywhere. It was a complete mess. City Lord's mansion. Other than 8 King Kong, who was slightly better, all of them were heavily injured. The Great Hall was also silent. This time, the Hellgate was going all out, and there were still the 9 secret warrior families. They could not block it at all. Countless disciples had died. Right now, he was only doing a powerless defense. He wouldn't be able to hold on for more than a few days. Gui Ru said softly, if Lord Husband was here, he would definitely have a way to bring us out. Long Fei. Yang Yu muttered, where are you now? Kunlun Zi said solemnly, 9 secret warrior family and Hell Gate have joined hands to deal with us. It is very obvious. Sect Master was probably targeted everywhere during the Tower question of God test. We can't give the sect leader any more trouble. We must carry the banner. Even if the sect master is not here, we must still walk down arrogantly. Hualin said heavily. Yes. With a heavy voice, Lei Dun said, if sect master is not here, we should continue to walk forward arrogantly. So what if you are a 9 secret warrior family? At most, I'll just die. Li Yuanbar stood up and said, well said, at worst, if I die, even if I die, I will drag them down with me. There were many wounds on Li Yuanbar's body. He suddenly stood up, and his wounds ruptured. Fresh blood gushed out from his wounds. Next. Sky Spirit, Arhat, Descending Dragon, Chen Tianfei, Aoya, Black Knife, Lin Yusheng all stood up, and said solemnly, fight it out with them. Kill them. Men die and birds rise to the sky, they will not die for tens of thousands of years. Facing any powerhouse, 8 King Kong had never been afraid. Even if they were to face the gods, they would not be afraid, let alone the Hellgate. However, their cultivation levels were still not strong enough. Unable to guarantee Beast City. Furthermore, this time, Zhong Wushuang was really planning to kill. He had to pull all of Long Fei's power out of the ground and leave no repercussions. The powerhouse he had sent out this time was too powerful. It was something that Li Yuanbar and the rest couldn't handle. 3 days. The Beast City was strewn with corpses and the city walls had been destroyed. The city had a population of over 1 million, and now there were less than 100,000 people. Now, the final battle. Carrying the giant spirit axe on his shoulder, Li Yuanbar walked out of the city lord's mansion. His gaze was like an angry King Kong, as he looked at the huge army of Hellgate on the distant hillside, and roared out heavily, come, Ice and Amp, Snow City. He's back. The king is back. On the city wall, many guards began to cheer because The western devil fire had already disappeared, and could not be sensed at all. In other words, the group of western devils had already been killed. The king returned triumphantly. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen did not have a smile on her face. Looking at the scene of blood flowing like a river beneath Longfei's feet, she still could not make a choice. "Milady Queen, do you want to open the door?" Ice and Amp, Snow Queen did not speak. One of the ministers standing next to her spoke again. "Your Majesty, do you wish to open the door to welcome us?" "Milady Queen, everyone in the city knows that Wang Jieshi has returned. We must personally go out to welcome him, otherwise we will be disheartened." When Ice and Amp, Snow Queen saw the scene of the river of blood, her heart trembled slightly. She was sure. Long Fei was a demon. A super great demon. What would happen if he put it in the Ice and Amp, Snow City? Huff. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen took a deep breath and said, "Open the gate and welcome Wang Kai back." Long Fei and the other two walked into the Ice and Amp, Snow City. As the children offered flowers, the citizens welcomed them with open arms. They constantly called out, "King, King, King." At the very back of the crowd, the Ice and Amp, Snow Queen was tall and cold. That kind of sacred and unreachable feeling made the evil in Long Fei's heart even more intense. Step by step, he walked in front of Ice and Amp, Snow Queen and said, "I'm back, I'm using my own strength to prove that I'm the king. Do you understand now?" Long Fei stared at Ice and Amp, Snow Queen blankly. Yi Zichen didn't avoid his gaze at all. Ah! Ice and Amp, Snow Queen looked at Long Fei. She was very tall, around 1.8 meters tall, a little taller than Long Fei. At this moment, Ice and Amp, Snow Queen slowly knelt down on one knee. With incomparable piety, he said, "Welcome back, my king." At this moment, the entire city cheered. The corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he walked forward and carried Ice and Amp, Snow Queen in a domineering manner. He waved his arms and said, "My world, I am the ruler." Ice and Amp, Snow Queen's body emitted a faint fragrance. He could feel the Ice and Amp, Snow Queen slightly trembling, and also, this time, there was something in her eyes. The gaze she used to look at Long Fei was a little strange. It was as if he was afraid. However, Long Fei didn't care that much. Carrying Ice and Amp, Snow Queen, he walked directly to her chambers, threw her onto the wide bed, and said softly, "I have conquered the Western Devils, now it's my turn to conquer you." Ice and Amp, Snow Queen's body trembled slightly as he stared at Long Fei and said, "You can't do this. It can't be like this. I am your king, I am your husband sleeps with his wife. It is only natural. Why can't I be like this?" Long Fei laughed. The more aloof it was, the more Long Fei would want to test it out. Chapter 1439 Initiating Super Teleportation. Chapter 1439 Initiating Super Teleportation. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen curled her body and trembled a little. She didn't know why, but she felt a kind of fear towards Long Fei that came from the bottom of her heart. The image in his mind was still lingering. Blood flowed into rivers and bones piled into mountains. Long Fei's entire body was covered in blood. Standing at the peak, he looked down upon the world. He was a king, and also a demon. Seeing Long Fei's playful expression, Ice and Amp, Snow Queen was still in a state of panic as he said, "You're a demon, you're a great devil." Long Fei laughed and said, "Since I am a demon, then I should do what demons like to do." He rushed forward. Fiercely pressing down on Ice and Amp, Snow Queen's body, Long Fei said, "Aren't you cold and proud? Aren't you noble? Aren't you aloof and cold like ice? I want to conquer you." Long Fei became rough. To deal with such a cold queen, one had to be straightforward and straightforward. Ruthlessly violent. 2 hours later. Satisfied. The Ice and Amp, Snow Queen did not have any more arrogant aura, replacing it was delicate panting, as if she had lost herself, unable to extricate herself. Long Fei slapped her white butt. "What am I now? Demon, or a hero?" Ice and Amp, Snow Queen looked at Long Fei with a serious face and said, "You are not a demon, nor a hero, you are my king." Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed out crazily. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen leaned on Long Fei's back with a gentle face. Women are like that. The moment the relationship occurred, she would change. Originally cold, the queen on the Ice Mountain throne had now turned into a gluey little fairy. He went all out, afraid that Long Fei would not want him. While the relationship was happening, Ice and Amp, Snow Queen's mind was still in a mess. He did not know what choice he had made, but at the last second she made her choice. No matter what Long Fei was. She had even chosen Long Fei. The devil who destroyed the world, the hero who saved the world, no matter what he was still the king in her heart. Why did this happen? Maybe it was because he was comfortable. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen leaned on Long Fei and said, I saw a mountain of white bones beneath your feet, and a river of blood. That scene was too terrifying. How did you see this? Long Fei felt that it was strange. The Ice and Amp, Snow Queen did not hide anything and said, there is a secret room in the Ice and Amp, Snow City that has been passed down for God knows how many years. It is a Archangel's staff. Archangel's staff? Goddess Tear. Long Fei immediately thought of the matter of the Goddess Tear. The Goddess Tear was one of the materials needed to synthesize the Archangel's staff. Could it be? This was the clue of the quest. And then Long Fei immediately turned around to look at Ice and Amp, Snow Queen, and said, can you take me to see? Ice and Amp, Snow Queen hesitated for a moment and said, all right. The rewards for the SSS level mission Goddess Tear were plentiful. Moreover, most importantly, Long Fei wanted to know the secret behind the Goddess Tear. Who exactly was she? The power that erupted from the god's martial continent's Goddess Tear saved him many times, and that familiar feeling made him feel incomparable warmth. Mother! He was the reincarnation of a Yuan Long, but the Yuan Long had already been devoured by him, and it wasn't the Yuan Long's woman. Who could it be? This problem had been plaguing Long Fei since the beginning. The clue to the mission that the Ice and Snow Plane triggered, Goddess Tear, must be unraveled. The two big SSS level missions in Chaos Realm, JoJo's Heart of Phoenix, this mission was basically already completed, and now they were waiting for JoJo's rebirth. Is the Goddess Tear quest also going to be solved now? Half an hour later, the two of them walked into the secret room. Long Fei looked at the staff floating above the array and his heart tensed up. The staff of the Archangel is really similar. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen asked, have you seen it before? Long Fei shook his head and said, I've never seen this world before. But he had seen it many times in the game. Long Fei carefully took out the Goddess Tear. Following that, two energies formed a resonance, and an azure light illuminated the entire secret room. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen's face was filled with piety, and he directly kneeled on the ground. Long Fei stood in place without moving an inch as an image appeared in his mind, and that familiar figure once again appeared in his mind. Beautiful, moving, gentle, and charming. A warm feeling that made Long Fei feel incomparable comfort. Finally, the scene changed and the nine heavens vortex began to spin. 100-layer God's tower descended from the sky, suppressing the figure. Long Fei exhaled, no. Rumble. The scene disappeared and everything returned to normal. At this moment, Long Fei sweated profusely and his entire body was drenched in sweat. In that instant, as if his mind had experienced the Great War of the Primordial Era, he heavily swallowed his saliva. Tower question of God. Could it be? Is the Goddess Tear's ultimate task goal also amongst the Tower question of God? The father of this body left something for him in the Tower question of God. His own father, Long Zhanting, also left something for him in the Tower question of God. Now, even the shadow of the Goddess Tear pointed towards the Tower question of God. Long Fei frowned. The Tower question of God was the most mysterious and powerful place in the Chaos Realm. It is the organization of a god. He specifically wanted to go to the divine battlefield to transport talented disciples. But it was only what Long Fei understood. But in reality, is it really just a divine organization? Or was it hiding something else? For a moment, Long Fei couldn't understand what was going on. However, he had to enter the Tower question of God, he had to pass through the Tower question of God. Otherwise, All the doubts in his heart would not be able to be answered. Wang, what happened to you? The Ice and Amp, Snow Queen said lightly. Long Fei regained his composure. The Archangel staff had also calmed down, and the goddess tear flew down from the Archangel staff, landing in Long Fei's palm quietly. Long Fei said indifferently, I'm fine. I want to leave this place and return to my world. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen had already known this from the start, but he still felt a little uncomfortable as he said, the secret world's exit has already been destroyed. There's no way out at all. Why don't you stay here with me? How about this? Long Fei said, I have to go back. He had too many things to do. What did you just say? The secret world's exit was destroyed. Long Fei was shocked. He clenched his fists tightly and said, Zhong Wushuang, you are really ruthless, sending out killers. Didn't you say you want to destroy secret world's exit? I must get out. Do you have a way? Long Fei looked at Ice and Amp, Snow Queen. Zhong Wushuang didn't want him to live. Then he must live. Moreover, the more Zhong Wushuang targeted him, the more obvious that something big was happening outside. Huff. Ice and Amp, Snow Queen breathed out, and said, I have a way to get you all out. A few hours later. The God-level mountain range. Space twisted. A void door appeared. Long Fei was the first one to fly towards the void door. The idea moved, and looked straight at Beast City, who had his eyes pierced. Chapter 1440, Save Us. Chapter 1440, Save Us. He rushed out of the void to check what was happening within his true eye range. Long Fei saw. Corpses littered the ground as the army of hell massacred the citizens of the continent. Seeing the 8 King Kong suffering from severe injuries, he finally managed to hold on. He was furious. The reason he entered the tower question of God assessment was so that he could receive protection, but the result? It was the same. It was better not to bully him. Since that was the case, then go through them all. In that moment, Long Fei inserted his other eye. The idea moved at the same time. Super teleportation. LOL summoner skill teleport. Activate. Long Fei's body disappeared from the spot in a short moment. Yi Jingyun and Nangong Yang, who had just rushed out of the void door, saw Long Fei suddenly disappear, and were startled. Immediately after, the other disciples also rushed out towards the void door. They were frozen stiff, but after feeling the pubes slowly recovering, they slowly calmed down. Thank you, young Master Long. Many thanks. Let's hurry back to the exam to make up for it. Since we've come out, we should have a result. Let's hurry back. Right, hurry up and go back. Yi Jingyun immediately yelled, Young Master Long hasn't come back yet. What are you going back for? Everyone is waiting for him here. Everyone shivered. Many people muttered, what does his return have to do with us? That's right. If he doesn't want to continue with the assessment, does he still want us to give up? If we go back too late and disqualify from the exam, who would be responsible for it? Can he afford it? Let's not talk about that anymore. After all, we were saved by the young Master Long. Everyone, just wait. Those people were suppressed. If not for Long Fei, they would have been trapped inside, unable to come out. At the last moment, Long Fei appeared and used a ray of energy to cut open the void, opening a void door before he escaped. Everyone sat on the ground and slowly recovered. Nangong Yang looked into the sky and muttered, Long Fei, where did you go? Ha ha ha. They're going to die immediately. Kill them all for me. The young lord has ordered us to kill them all. One of the elders from the Hell Gate said in a heavy voice. Looking at the 8 King Kong on the battlefield struggling to hold on, he could not help but sneer. 8 King Kong is truly extraordinary, with such extraordinary power. If not for them, blood would have flowed like a river and become a dead city. However, so what? No matter how strong they are only 8 people. No matter how strong they are only the cultivation of the Emperor List S. They can't overturn the heavens, ha ha ha. The 8 King Kong was very strong. Not their strength, but their will to fight, their spirit of never giving in. Absolutely not. It was tough. In addition, The Kunlun sect and the Beastman warrior fought with their lives on the line, so even a small beast city was unable to take them down for 6 days and 6 nights. However, now, at the final moment, one of the walls of the beast city had collapsed, and the city had been destroyed. 8 King Kong's holy source was exhausted, Beast City was on the verge of death, and all of Kunlun sect's disciples had fallen to the ground one by one, all of them doing their best. He really couldn't take it anymore. Are we going to die? Gui Ru looked at Yang Yu with a pale face and said, Big sister Yang Yu, are we going to die? I really miss my husband. For 6 days and 6 nights, she constantly forged combat puppets. Her pubes began to shrivel due to her constant overdraft, causing her to feel extremely uncomfortable. Yang Yu shook his head. It won't, we will all live on happily. She didn't even believe what she said. How could she still live? It was impossible to be alive in this situation. In the entire Beast City, only the 8 King Kong was bitterly resisting, but right now, they could only use their own bodies to fight. It was just a matter of time before the Hellgate's men started this despicable battle. No one could save them. Long Fei, where are you? In her heart, she was also calling out to Long Fei. At this time, she really wanted to see Long Fei again. Where are you? Long Fei, come back and save us. Yang Yu's heart was torn. Rumble. A powerful force came crashing down. A palm struck out and sent Aoya flying. She collapsed on the ground. Fart. He spat out a mouthful of blood, his face extremely pale. The powerhouse figure moved, and the moment Aoya landed, he mercilessly stomped on her. Eldest sister-in-law. Boom. Li Yuanbar's body trembled, and a little golden light emerged from his body. Aoya was a sword force King Kong of the 8 King Kong, but in Li Yuanbar's eyes, she was her sister-in-law. Seeing that Aoya was blasted away, he instantly blocked her attack. His fists were like hammers as they heavily smashed forward. Trash. Your opponent is me. The moment Li Yuanbar rushed forward, the other powerhouse attacked, the sword in his hand became like a nail, and thrusted forward. The sword chi was like a rainbow. Slash. A bloody hole appeared in Li Yuanbar's chest. The sword pierced through and fresh blood surged. As if he didn't feel it, Li Yuanbar's fists still blasted the powerhouse away. He stood in front of Aoya and heavily kicked at the ground for a while. Boom. Boom. He stabbed it ruthlessly into the ground, glared at Kong Kim and said solemnly, Come on. It was like a thunderbolt. There was blood all over his body, and there were dozens of wounds all over his body. Right now, Li Yuanbar seemed as though he had crawled out of a pool of blood. At the same time, his life was also falling rapidly. Aoya climbed up from the ground with much difficulty, looked at the sky and said, Long Fei, where are you? Come back and save us. Her heart was about to break down. Seeing her brothers heavily injured and struggling to survive, her heart ached. He really couldn't take it anymore. Boom. Lin Yusheng was blasted out, smashing a building into ruins. He fell down in the rubble as he looked at the sky, his eyes filled with despair, and muttered, Boss, come back quickly. Boom. Another King Kong was sent flying and crashed on the ground. Boom. The Ahut was blasted away and fell on the ground. He wanted to get up but was stomped under the feet of the Hell Gates, unable to get up at all. The limit of the 8 King Kong. They really couldn't take it anymore. Ha ha ha. 8 King Kong? 8 big dog turds are about the same, ha ha ha. A powerhouse stepped forward, instantly landing above Beast City. Seeing the 8 people being crushed, he couldn't help but laugh out loud. Even more arrogant. Why have they all become dead dogs? Ha ha ha. You don't have the qualifications to go against my Hellgate. That elder was incomparably proud. And then, as his laughter faded, he said coldly, Kill them all. Leave none alive. Li Yuanbar clenched his fists tightly, his strong heart crumbling as he shouted loudly, Boss. In the sky. A figure descended from the sky. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.